Five of the Firefall Fest. I'm DJ Wheat, joined by the rest of the Live on 3 crew, as we are here to dissect Firefall a little bit from the competitive aspect, talking a little bit about how it relates to maybe some of the other games that you guys have played, competitive FPS, obviously. And welcome. What's up, Sir Scoots? How's it going? Scott?
I'm good.
Two Scotts, actually.
Scott's on the side of the
Scott. That's right.
Of the minivan.
That's right. Got to watch out for that. So Scoots and Scott, young blood, right? So we'll get that. I'm actually okay with the whole handle thing. I don't know about you. I grew up in a family where mom just called all the gaming friends by their handles. They didn't know their real names. It was like, no, you know, you're Air Dave, you're Bitch Slayer, and my son's DJ Wheat. Yeah. We've got Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Grums.
And of course, Slasher over there.
Thanks, Wheat.
How's it going,
Great
Slasher?
introduction. Thank you, Wheat. I'm just left at the very end. I still call you Wheat, still call you Scoots, though.
Yes, that's right. So, guys, where do we want to start? I mean, I wouldn't mind maybe just discussing my own personal experiences with Firefall. I've been spending like a lot more time with it. You know, we played a little bit, focusing almost exclusively on the PvP, leveling up my tier 1, and you know, playing around with some of the different classes, but you know, I don't know, Scoots, you want to maybe throw out some initial?
Yeah, I mean, my first take on it, and we talked a lot about it in advance. You know, when you jump into it, it's obviously very much a PvE game as well. You would never have to PvP. You could play it like an MMO. Obviously, we are very much interested in killing other humans in that environment.
Definitely.
In a more controlled, competitive place. You know, coming from Quake, coming from Counter-Strike. The first thing that I noticed, and you nailed it right on the head the other day, you're like, this is kind of like Quake meets Tribes with jetpacks without skiing. And
it's very concise.
Yeah, you know, and it is. I think
people don't know what that means.
And then we started talking last night at dinner, and I went and a guy brought up a little bit of Unreal Tournament vibe to it, you know, which it definitely has. Most intriguing is like your history. Like when we start saying it kind of looks and feels a little bit like Tribes, you go, why?
Well, it's not by accident that we have jetpacks, because I believe that jetpacks are like the coolest thing you can possibly have.
Jetpacks are pretty damn cool.
I tried to get him to stop. I really did.
Because you're Tribes 1 guy.
Tribes 1. I was a lead designer on Tribes 1, and back in the day, we were really enamored. We'd been playing Quake a lot, you know, and the verticality of that game really started to influence us. And Thresh, you know, doing rocket jumps really kind of gave us the idea. It's like, I want to have a little more control, make that a little bit easier, and so jetpacks were born. And from then on, it's like I've never wanted to not have the freedom to go vertical when I'm playing a shooter. Games that don't have it, I'm always trying to like, where's my jetpack? And I can't go up.
And I mean, obviously, the level design of the game, kind of like the weapon sets that are available, they really kind of facilitate the mechanic of having jump packs, or having jetpacks rather. You know, whether that be the assault class or you know, whether that be just like some of the specific terrain that you deal with. I've really felt like the game level design has been built around that concept, and it's important. Like you have to have it. You can't, you know, just a flat land with open air, like that might be fun, but you know, being able to get on top of that one cliff where it might be hard for the enemy team to find you, like these are the types of things that when it comes to competitive game, maps become such a big part of how teams play, what their compositions are going to be, etc. We look at some of the more historical things, like say Counter-Strike, you know, Dust 2, like how do teams play that and how do they play it over time? And I imagine that as the Firefall competitive community continues to, you know, grow and the metagame shifts, like that's going to be a big part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of opportunities for players to figure out how to use not just the jetpacks, but it's their guns, the way the guns fire, as well as the ways that those can combination with their abilities as well. So that, in terms of using it with the terrain, you can create some really awesome moments if you figure out how to leverage and combo those things together.
We don't think we have any hit scan weapons, right? Just maybe one.
Yeah, well, I was asking because the engineer appears to have like a lightning gun. So if you played Quake, you're familiar with the LG, and everyone loves it. It is a hit scan weapon. I mean, even so much as like the machine gun, but it's actually projectile based, right? And the beam just sort of gives it that feel, a really fast projectile.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I think that's kind of an interesting take on it, because hit scan weapons in the hands of a pro can be one of the most frustrating things in the world.
Yeah.
But at least that weapon is, distance limited. You have to be close to the person in order to use it, so you
Right.
have to put yourself at risk.
Right.
Now, we're talking about these jetpacks, and you can kind of say that the whole physics and the way the game is played is around the ability to use these jetpacks to get on high levels, and to kind of, that's the way you fight, is mostly in the air for 80% of the battles in the game. Why the decision to include jetpacks instead of, maybe strafing, which you could jump really, really high, and that would make you run fast, or a different mechanic that would allow you to get to higher
Actually,
levels?
it's interesting that you mentioned that, because we did explore a bunch of different ways of giving players options to move differently, and we implemented. Back in the day, we actually implemented those as Battleframe specific movement abilities, right? Not everybody had jetpacks. Back in the day, the biotech actually had like a hook shot, so he could shoot a shot, grab a, almost like the back in the days of Quake, the grapple hook, right? And it was a lot of fun. Those may come back in the future. We'll see. If there's
still in there.
If there's enough,
There are a lot of
desire for it,
movements.
then we could bring them back.
And I also did want to mention that Slasher is monitoring our Twitter, so if you want to tweet us at LiveOn3, especially anything that might be considered a competitive question about Firefall. I already see that we've gotten quite a few coming in. So let's start, because I think this is one of the biggest questions that we get a lot. If you jump in the game right now, if you come into Founder and you start playing, you go into the PvP aspect of it, probably going to be playing a lot of team deathmatch, right? It's like one of the things you could queue up on really quick. Yep. But we also have the other modes as well. And the big question that we're getting, which is always important to anyone who wants to focus on the competitive side of a game, is that what is the true competitive mode? And I guess the question is has it been discovered yet? Is this something that's kind of up to the community to go, we embrace this mode, this is what we want to do competitively?
It's not there yet, actually. So
Well, I mean, we are working on some additional game types that haven't seen the light of the day yet. Some of these are more, likable for an esports style of an experience. Capture the Flag as one of those.
Okay.
Previously, we had a different form of deathmatch implemented that might be better for esports, which was kind of an arena mode. We're really open to exploring opportunities for what works best for us, right? And maybe we can invent a new game type that hasn't existed yet that could be fun for Firefall.
Well, let me ask you this, because we were actually just talking about this on Live on 3 the other day. We were talking about one of the old school esports games, Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why I said I love Return to Castle Wolfenstein is because the game kind of told a story in the competitive game. You take MP Beach, which was kind of one of the staple maps of RTCW. What happened? The attacking side goes up the beach. Engineer has to drop down the dynamite, get it, everyone has to defend, then you go into stage 2. Is that a potential game type, or maybe something that we might see in Firefall?
We have one that's similar to that right now, and it's Orbital Comm Tower, where it's objective based. There are 3 points that one team starts on defense, one team starts on offense, but the mechanics are really kind of all about the point. But we have discussed adding additional things that could be even Battleframe specific as your.
But I think what you're getting at is like adding some story theme to it, right?
I mean,
you're invading the beach, and then there's it's not just this is an abstract point. It's like I am storming the beach, and I have to establish the beachhead before I can go.
Exactly. And now that we move on to phase 2, where we're spawning in different places, and the points of attack, the points of action change up quite a bit. I mean, obviously, I don't want people to get the wrong impression, like, oh, we got through phase 1, let's throw a cutscene in here. No, it's like the story of just like a sport. They're telling the story of this underdog team that's now coming back, and it's the same kind of thing. Now, I've got a follow-up question to that. RTCW based the excitement off of the time, right? So like we as the attackers, we set an 8-minute time, and now the defenders who become the attackers, they've got to break that time. The game type that you had mentioned, was it more point/ticket based, or was there a time element?
It's purely time based, right? So the first team that's attacking, they have a 10-minute timer. They have to capture that 3rd point before that 10-minute timer kicks down.
Gotcha.
Once they capture that point, they set the time for the next team. So let's say I do it in 6 minutes. Now your team has 6 minutes to get to that 3rd point.
Gotcha.
Okay, very similar then.
I mean, what do you guys think about it? Any game type?
I mean,
questions
you guys have been around in the FPS community and building these games for such a long time. We've seen all the competitive games. Quake, TDM, and CTF are the main modes in that game. Counter-Strike, of course, is built off a bomb, planting a bomb and winning rounds. RTCW is capturing points. Then you have Halo, which is holding a bomb, and who can hold that the longest amount of time. Is there any of these that you feel would be the mode to play, or do you think is even room to have an entirely new team mode? Because I mean, these are modes that have been developed over 15 years of team FPS play, and there seems to be a set amount of them, about 4 or 5, that differentiate between each game that suit each game. But maybe there's more possibilities, or do you think that one of them will be the lead?
Well, I think that we're going to focus on what people are familiar with first, right? Give them that comfortable experience that you can learn, hone your skills. But I am a fan of doing things that are completely outside the box. I mean, I like to break the rules and try stuff that has never been tried before. For sure. So I would expect us to see, trying some game types that maybe work, maybe don't work, but we'll try some things and see what players like.
I think there's 2 real challenges to this. It's like, sure, there's all the, what's going to make the right competitive mode for players, but what we're seeing now that's super important is what's going to be right for spectators.
Yes.
Of course.
And so, I think that game type or that arrangement hasn't arrived yet in the shooter scene. It's always been about the players. It hasn't been about translating that action to a viewership. And so we've been putting a lot of thought into a game type that might give us maybe rounds or more breaks where we have time to talk about the action in between,
right,
and then let you choose battle frames in between so that you can see the strategy building, sort of like how the champion pick in League of Legends goes.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's it going to take to make sure that people can follow the game? And then what's the right game time that overlaps? It's going to be right for the spectator, right for the player.
Yep.
I mean, let's actually talk a little bit about that, because we have in this current state of gaming, and specifically competitive gaming, pretty much 2 types of developers. We've got the hands-off, like, oh, hey, throw some money at this game and play it, it'll be great. And then you've got the hands-on who are like, well, hey, let's do that, and let's give you the tools and put some thought into, like what you're saying, Mark, about like, we want something that's exciting to watch, because there are certainly some things that are great to play but don't necessarily translate to the screen as well. So, I guess it's more general question, like, at what point in the development of the game were you guys like, you know what, we want to be the hands-on developer. We want to be one that is like, that is going to make the esports tool set and
Day one.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it came from Scott's background with putting clan support right into tribes, and building that in. And then we hit this lull where FPSs didn't support it at all. It was all hands off. And when Scott came on board, he's like, we've got to get this stuff back in. And so, one of the things that we're working on is a way that, your armies, we call them armies, can actually arrange their own tournaments using like a web UI and stuff, set up matches and stuff, so they can auto-run their own tournaments without having, to make phone calls and tweet around. Because we were frustrated doing that just with ourselves and playing against each other.
Again, you can tweet your questions here to us at LiveOn3 at Twitter. We'll try to get those out. I don't know, Slasher, if we had any coming out over the break, but welcome back. And this is day 5 of the Firefall Fest. What do we got? Or where do we want to take our focus?
Well, I want to bring up what we talked about at break, how kind of it was kind of nice to see. We met a bunch of people yesterday at your studio, and one of the guys that gave us a ride home does a lot of your map design, I believe.
Clancy,
yep. I'm Dragon in-game. Dragon. First thing we noticed was he had a Quake tattoo. So we were like, all right. Like kindred spirit, right? Yep. Then he gives us a ride home last night, and we hop in his car. He's got some music playing, and it ends up being the Quake 2 soundtrack he's listening to. So again, we were like, okay, at least some of the guys, that are putting this thing down in code have the same kind of love and passion for a lot of the games that we love. Which again, you come from a very strong FPS community, very hard game, right?
Yes.
Very elitist in that sense, like not an easy game to jump into. My question, based on that hearing all this fun stuff, is how hard is it for the upper echelon here to battle your employees that probably want the game that we all really want, but there's business discussions and business compromises you have to make to mass appeal. Like, I'm sure he wants to rebuild Quake, right? You might want, in a way, rebuild tribes and do stuff that you couldn't do before, right? Maybe your hands were tied. But where are you finding that you have to compromise those pie-in-the-sky ideals with, like, paying the bills?
Well, we're not too worried about the paying the bills. Usually it's most about, cooperating with each other, right? Because the one thing that we care most about is that we're all very passionate about this game. And we want everybody that's working on it to feel like this is our game, not any one person's game. So we spend a lot of time talking back and forth and really kind of making sure that we're aware of, what it is that we want to do, what we're excited about adding to the game, and then making sure that it fits within the overall context of what Firefall currently is or it could become.
Go ahead,
There's
please.
not a real, there's no battling business units or anything. We're not
Okay,
a real
good.
division. In fact, we're pretty transparent with our numbers with the whole company. So we all kind of own the stake in the game and how it succeeds together. And we like to really give people room to experiment. Because a lot of what we're doing is new. There's new challenges, especially with making the MMO side of it and blending that with the PvP. So we don't have the right answers, and we learned long ago that letting people experiment, as long as we can iterate rapidly, gets us to better solutions faster. And as long as they've got the knowledge, like, well, how'd that work on the business side? How'd that work on that?
Yeah.
We let people, we like to fail fast, get all the suck out, basically, get to the good stuff.
Well, and we're doing that with our community. We've had some people like, why are you still in beta? Why are you taking so long to finish the game? Well, we're taking this long to finish the game is because we don't want to screw this up, right? We want to make this game awesome. We want it to make a game that everybody out there thinks is awesome, right? And that takes a lot of love, sweat, and and sometimes tears.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, definitely tears.
I'm crying on the inside right now.
Definitely tears. All right, so we have a lot of different ways we can go in terms of talking about it. One of the other questions that I got, because we talked about it on Live on 3, was the concept of other games that have had a PvE aspect of the game, but then also have a really solid core PvP. And one of the problems that we've run into in the past has been the fact that sometimes players are forced to go through the PvE in order to be able to compete properly, let's say, in the PvP. So, let me just throw it out there, because you could listen to these guys say it, but I think it's important as from a outsider's perspective, from a show that specifically focuses on esports. You could jump into this game and you can level up playing just PvP. And that's what I personally have done. I feel like I've now sort of matured to the point in my life where I can't really play MMOs anymore. The fact that it's there and I can join my friends in it, that's great. I might do that, but I'm not going to be able to commit that time. However, that doesn't mean I don't want to play the PvP side of it. And this was a question that came up a lot during the show when we talked about it for the last couple of weeks. So, can we talk a little bit about the evolution of that and how you've kind of gotten to that point?
Sure. We actually started off as almost a traditional MMO-based design to where
And then we completely solved the problem. It's solved.
Yeah,
right?
totally solved. It's perfect, right? Right?
Launch it tomorrow. Exclusive on Live on 3. The game is now available out of beta.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things, this shirt it means something for us, right? Because we started, with a single character base, you level it all the way up, and you were stuck with that character. And as we've worked on the game over time, we've been willing to investigate other ways of doing things. So we came up with the idea, well, I want to be able to switch my role quickly, right? This is more, kind of a back to tribes. I want to be a light. I want to be heavy based on my whim. I wanted to get that back into Firefall, so we invented the battle frame system and made it so that you could switch between them easily. But we still had character levels, right? And then the character levels meant that the disparity in power from a level 1 to a level 15 actually broke one of the rules that we were trying to establish, which was there wasn't going to be a huge power curve and that your skill mattered. Right? The leveling up should give you more choices. It shouldn't give you more power. Well, we screwed that up. That's what, it happens. We make mistakes, but we're willing to listen to feedback and learn from those mistakes as long as people are willing to give us feedback that we can act on. So we got rid of levels recently and invented the tier system. Without levels, how do you do progression? That's why we also came up with the tech tree. And we're still learning from this. There is still opportunity for us to grow and make this better than it currently is. And it's you guys out there telling us, what sucks, what doesn't suck.
Right.
We need to know both ways.
Well, you had a battle frame at one point that you've now dumped and mixed, right? You had more of a medic, if you will, battle frame.
We did.
Pure heal.
And that was something that we wanted to explore, right? There was 2 camps, you know, it was almost like a TF2 healer style of approach, where one player would have to follow another. I wasn't a huge fan of that, but I was willing to explore it with, you know, the rest of the team to see, is this going to work for our game? And it was really the community and the feedback from them that convinced us, like, okay, we need to change this.
And you kind of melded into a dual role, right?
Yeah, so now it's like we invented the biotech, which he can still have some healing abilities. They're a lot more skillful now than just following a guy with my button down.
Gotcha.
You know, so he has a lot more choice, and he has freedom for how he wants to play now. Before, I had guys that would always yell at me because I wasn't following them around. You know, I'm that stupid, crazy medic that goes off by himself. And, you know, I like to be that offensive medic. Yes.
I still get that from some players. They just expect me to have a healing gun because I'm a biotech.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Where's your beam?" It's like, you've never played a biotech before, have you?
Yeah. Get out of here.
You know, and they would rage at me because I wasn't following around, even though I had the highest skill. I was like, well, maybe you should kill more, and then I'll follow you.
When you talk about some of the progression that's happened, specifically with kind of ditching levels, and I mean, I'm a huge fan of like Ultima Online, which I felt was more rewarding for use space, which is kind of comparable to how it is, right? If I play in PvP, I earn experience to put towards my battle frame. Like, to me, that's like I'm using my battle frame. That's how I'm progressing. You know, I like that concept. However, as you know, I'm sure some people know, the tiering system is kind of how you separate and you make it so someone who's played the game a little bit longer is going to be grouped up with people who's also played the game a little bit longer. There's some exceptions to that. But how difficult is finding the balance in the progression from tier 1? Like, I mean, I could tell you that if things stay the same, you can level up to about where you want to be in max tier 1 in a week. If you play a few games a day and you're halfway decent, you could probably do that in a week. So then the question is like, well, how long will it take you to advance in tier 2? And I imagine that, like, you know, this is something that takes research, you know, looking at the trends, how quickly are some classes doing it better than others? How difficult is that, and how much do you see that changing as we get further and closer and closer to, you know,
well, it's exceptionally difficult, right? Because there's so many variables in the game that we have to be aware of and balance in context of progression that, you know, any one of those things can really mess up the whole mix. And until you have enough people trying to do those things and you can see those trends emerge, you don't know what's really going to go wrong. You can best guess it, but a lot of times you're not going to get the right thing. You know, and the other thing is, like, it's iterations. Like, ask people, how long did it take? Was that too fast? Was it too short? And then we'll adjust the dials based on finding the sweet spot that works for most people.
Sure. Okay.
Having a live beta to do this is really important.
Right.
You know, we couldn't do it with just internal focus groups or anything like that. We really needed a whole community out there playing at the same time. Gotcha. So that's why we shared it really early. Back when we just had one PvP map, we said, okay, we just want weapon and battle frame feedback, and just give us that. And then we slowly, like, added features along the way.
Yeah, one more question before we go to break, and it kind of lends right into what you said. Like, you're totally cool with never killing a bug, never thumping, never kind of doing that side of the game, and that's fine. And you love the fact that you can level in multiplayer PvP, so to speak. But a lot of questions I'm sure we're getting flooded with, and we got last week as well. You come from the land of Blizzard, the land of WoW. That's where you were years ago, right? When they launched their arenas, their PvP at one point, it started that you came in with your own gear. You came in with what you had earned in the world, and you battled, which is kind of unfair in that same sense, right? This has that right now in the competitive mode. Sure, you can level in it, and you're filtered by the tiers that when you join a server, you know, it's a tier 1 PvP. But within that, it's still, you might have an advantage over me because you've played longer, you've done a little bit more of your tech tree. At the highest level of this bad boy, where the pros start to play, WoW went to the point where they had a tournament realm, where everything was unlocked. You sit down, you spec your character out, but everything's available to you. So kind of the tool chest is open to every player. You spec how you want. Do you see you guys eventually having a mode like that where it doesn't matter if I've played any of the game to level, but I can walk into a tier 4 MLG match, right, or whatever, for your $1 million, because then it's even playing field, and it's now how you spend, you know, your tech points and your money that you've given us.
Yeah. Yeah, we have gotten a lot of feedback about progression influencing a guy who has unlocked and printed his own plasma cannon. And he does have the slight advantage over a guy who hasn't done that. So for the extreme competitive field, we've talked about, it's not in the game yet, but we've talked about it extensively, the concept of like a tournament mode. And we even tried this on ourselves. We had an inner office tournament to where we put vendors in and we just let anybody pick all the top tier gear and outfit their characters however they wanted it, just to see how it would feel if we were going to support something like that. And it was one of the most fun times we've had with our game.
That's great to hear.
And so we will definitely keep exploring that and exploring those options for that solution that gives people the ability to play the game at the highest level without having to necessarily put in the grind.
I want to make a point too, because I think some people might say like, well, gosh, I don't know that I'd want to play in some sort of a mode where like someone's going to have a distinct advantage. But like, I think about a game like Call of Duty, where technically if I'm playing multiplayer and I go in game one, I do not have the same selection of weapons and perks as anyone else, and you have to work your way up. It could even be argued that once you prestige, which is like you get everything, and then you say, hey, I'm going to start over, and then you're having to work your way up. And I think that's where people who want to know about how skill translates in this game, like I feel like I have a solid FPS background. When I walked into PvP on day one, I did not feel like I was losing because of gear. I felt like I was winning because of skill. And I like that's as important, I think, to explain to people who are really interested in the competitive side of any game like this.
So that's the big difference between a game like Firefall and a game like WoW. When you're talking arenas, is that the skill factor in WoW, the skill ceiling is a lot less. You have to master the knowledge, but a lot of it's in your gear, and a lot of it, the reaction time is a little slower, right? You don't need to be pixel perfect with everything, because you can tab select and do all this stuff. Whereas in Firefall, there's a very tall skill ceiling, right? You can be it's like self-mastery. It's the player mastery instead of character mastery, and you feel like you've got that room to really edge it out. So that is actually a great boon for us. It gives us flexibility in terms of balancing things, because we've put so much on the player skill side.
Great. Well, guys, I think we're going to be shooting it over to the Tiki Bar, but when we are back, I think we're going to probably jump into the game, talk a little bit about some of the things that we would like to see from a competitive standpoint, have these two guys critique the hell out of what we're doing and answer a whole lot of questions. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, guys, stay with us. Let's shoot it on over to the Tiki Bar. Woo!
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Tiki Bar. I'm Phobos, aka This is Faded Pez. We've also got Master of M from our community sitting on the couch over there, being quiet.
He brought us Chuck.
Chuck?
Chuck.
Who's Chuck?
That's Chuck.
Oh, wow. We have our very own Anteater Bronodon set. It looks like an anteater with a,
It kind of does.
That's neat though.
It's really cool.
Punk's gonna be jealous.
Yeah. By the way, I think we're going to send that to Springfield and not Punk, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Springfield is definitely cooler than Punk.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh Christ, she's gonna kill me. So guys,
We're all
I think
dead.
this is a great conversation we're having over here. Like this is some really great questions. We're seeing questions come in on chat. We're also seeing them come in on Twitter. Don't forget to tweet the @live3 guys. That's @live3 spelled out. Live on 3 spelled out. Be sure to tweet them messages, because they'll be asking those questions for you. We'll try to answer as many as we can in the Twitch stream and on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Firefall. And we'll try to answer as many as we can on Twitter. There's a lot going on, so we're trying to manage multiple things. But be sure, if you have some questions you want them to ask on air, be sure to tweet @liveon3, because those are the guys that are going to be asking those questions. So where is Sweat Rag?
But Sweat Rag 2012. Everyone, let's call out for Sweat Rag 2012. We have to summon him.
He's got prizes, and I want to give away those prizes, but I can't give them away.
We have to summon him. Chat, we need you to summon him.
We got a new makeup person today, and I think she coated him in enough talcum powder to kill a buffalo.
A buffalo.
A buffalo. Hey, there he is.
A buffalo, or the city of Buffalo?
Really? Yeah.
Look at that. Even your hair is all like,
I know.
talcum.
I am so just like stuck back with plastic and glue right now that I can't even change my facial expression. I'm just gonna be smiling all day. This is how I'm not gonna sweat.
You smile all day anyway.
We're gonna give away prizes now?
Yeah, we are. What are we giving
All
away?
right, cool. Let me tell you. I got them right here. We're gonna give away some founder packs.
Founder packs.
I'm telling you.
We're asking for these in the
I
channel.
can't even move my face right now.
Yep.
Then give me the founder packs.
Okay.
So we're actually going to start off. You guys were asking for these in the channel, so we are. If you want immediate beta access to the game and play with the Live on 3 guys and Scott and Mark later on, you can actually use this Founders Pack to get immediate beta access. So we're actually selling these, but we're giving some away.
Oh,
you
man.
can pick them up at beta.firefallthegame.com/founders. So be sure to pick those up if you want one. But for right now, we'll give away 3.
The interesting thing about these ones, though, not the ones that you can buy. We are selling them online, but the ones that we're giving away, they're the same ones from PAX.
Yep.
So they actually come with the merch pet from the Penny Arcade comic.
Which is not available anymore.
It's no longer available. So that's an exclusive
And they come
pet.
with these cool cards, which I don't know. Are we mailing
Sweet
the cards?
cards. If they want them, I'll mail them. You know.
Okay.
I'll get them.
That's kidding.
Are we good?
Yeah,
We're good.
all right, we're good. You can play that one off.
Okay, because my face was really starting to hurt. Oh man, it sucks smiling that much.
So, instant card. What are we going to do to give it away?
Let's tweet the Live on 3 guys.
Tweet the Live on 3 guys.
Yeah, because they're the ones that gave us these founder packs. We had given them some, and they were like, "Hey, why don't you guys give away the ones that you gave us?" They're kind of, now that I think about it, the kind of Indian gave us the founder packs. No, they're really cool. They wanted us to
number 1 for this one.
There you go. And it only took us 3 minutes in the Tiki Lounge.
Yeah,
Perfect.
That's great.
I hope you guys at home are keeping count.
Yes, please. There will be a prize. No, there won't.
And a test.
So be sure to hashtag Pound Firefall Fest so we can see it. But tweet the Live on 3 guys.
At Live on 3, hashtag Firefall Fest, and then hashtag.
It's you. It's all you.
It's all me. It's all me. That's what you're. Hashtag It's all me.
There you go.
It's all me. So at Live on 3, hashtag Firefall Fest, hashtag It's all me. There's so many hashtags going on, I can't even keep track.
And then make up your own hashtag and see if we can figure that out.
If it's a funny hashtag, we might just pick you. Who knows? I've been known to do crazy things.
Crazy, like what?
Like, I don't know, attempt Christopher Walken yesterday. That was ridiculous.
Was crazy.
And crazy.
Okay, I'm going to pick one here.
And ill-advised.
I'm going to pick one here. Swoop 86 DK.
Swoop, swoop.
Swoop 86 DK. You get a Founders Pack, the Instant Founders Pack. Good job. And you know what? Just to speed things up a little bit, I'm going to just pick out of the same group
Hey, you know,
for
that's
the
a
lieutenant.
great idea. Why haven't we been doing this all along?
I don't know. Because we like to make things up
On the spot.
as we go.
AKA, we don't like to plan.
Nope.
Perfect.
Planning is for suckers.
Yeah, and the Boy Scouts. Psh. Right? Because they always plan ahead. The Boy Scouts always, I was a Boy Scout. You know that?
Did you get all the way to Eagle Scout?
I got all the way to my 3rd day.
Did you eat a sandwich?
I ate a sandwich on my 2nd day. Actually, they had a little sandwich tray, and I was like, oh, Boy Scouts are sweet. They got sandwich trays. And on the 3rd day, they didn't have sandwich trays, so I was like, forget this. And I was out. That's a true story.
I'm going to pick
Yeah.
Sunwind 92. You get a Lieutenant Pack.
Sunwind 92. Lieutenant.
Nice job. Tony will go ahead and provide those to you guys. He'll contact you on Twitter. You're going to contact him on Twitter?
I can contact them on Twitter.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tony Ray will contact you guys to give you those keys. But now the Commander Pack. Commander Pack is the $100 one. Comes with $120 worth of red beans. So you're already getting $20 for free, as well as an LGV and a tiki mask with flames on it, and
Such
a
a
merch
cool
pet, and a Commander decal, and 9 tiki masks to give away to your friend, and a poster, and a beanie, and a lot of cool stuff.
And our endless gratitude,
A hug from Tony.
I'll come to your house and give you a big old sweaty hug.
Yeah, sweaty.
I'm gonna run. I won't even need to run. I'll just walk to your front door and become sweaty, and then I'll give you a big bear hug.
You can even walk to him. He'll be
In
peeling
this
an
case,
orange.
I'm going to ask on Twitch. Twitch, go ahead and give me some shout outs. Who wants a Commander's Pack? Here, wait, let me remove slow. Go ahead and say.
That's what you're gonna say. Somehow.
Say that some way. In some way, say.
I guess it would be like PFFFT.
There we go.
No, it's like
Yeah.
PBHTH.
Man, don't
Okay.
argue with me on spelling of like weird mouth sounds. Who's gonna win? There's no way to judge that.
I actually won a spelling bee with that spelling.
Canadian Canuck, because your name stuck out to me because you like doubled it up. Because a Canadian is a Canuck and a Canuck is a Canadian, but Canadian underscore.
You know,
Canuck.
Canadian Canuck. I'm glad you picked him and not me. No, we're already Twitter buddies.
Are you?
He tweeted me something hilarious earlier.
Well, should I not pick him then?
No, he's funny.
It's done. It's done.
You
Done.
picked him.
You get a
I didn't
Commander's
pick him.
bag. Enjoy
Congrats,
that,
dude.
guys.
Yeah.
We've got some more prizes to give away. Are we giving away the AMD this time or next time?
We are giving away the AMD. Let me check.
I think it was. I believe that was during extra credits.
During extra credits?
Yeah,
So
next
we got
time.
more Razer gear coming up for you guys. Be sure to keep watching the stream. We'll talk to you in a bit. Here's a break.
See ya.
See ya.
And Thatch Butler's flying through the air, missed by the satchel, still gets shot down. Let's take another look. All right, there's the satchel, and booyah! Good night.
Firefall Fest, welcome back, Karen and Philip here, and we have some wonderful t-shirts for you today. Let's look at these shirts, huh?
Let's look at them.
What have we got here, Karen?
Well, these are amazing, amazing shirts. They come in the color black right now, and then they have this amazing screen print on the back that has all of these. That has all these colors.
You tell him he gets my money. You understand me?
The colors are really important here because
Gary,
really, no matter what your
I swear to God,
skin type or hair
I got you,
color,
bro.
it's one of those shirts that is really unisex. I think anyone can wear it, men or women.
Karen, I don't think you can say that.
The fun thing about this is that the shirt actually clings to the body in such a remarkable way. When you see here, it's gonna really look good on a man, and see his coloring is very different from my coloring. If a woman was to wear it, see how it looks okay on me as well? See how the coloring with my hair versus...
Karen, it does not look good on you. I'm just kidding. You're beautiful, Karen. You really are beautiful.
Okay. It's cool. Don't remind me that I'm not pretty. Okay, anyway, so the shirt is really, it just can cling.
Karen.
Why would you say that to me? Why would you do that?
Come on. Paisana.
It's not funny.
Let's talk about t-shirts,
You said
everybody.
it was normal.
Firefall Fest coming at you.
Great.
Already a member of the beta and are playing, we would love to play with you guys. Of course, we've got Slasher and Sir Scoots here with us. I'm not sure how they are doing. Well,
I was AFK.
You were AFK.
Too busy tweeting.
You know,
I was tweeting.
I had
Speaking
a couple of people at
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I had a couple
While
of
you're
people
talking.
ask, like, what are some things coming into Firefall? If I'm a new player, like, what are some things I can really kind of that will help me, be better right away? And so I've been kind of like collecting some thoughts as I've been playing a little bit over the last week. And I'd love to talk about it, and then you guys maybe talk about how it relates to the esports side of it. But one thing is that the F key.
Yep.
Yes.
So the F key is like so important, and I think it took me about I don't know, it took me about like 5 games before I realized just how important it is. And I'm going to try to demonstrate it on the stream, and I'm sure you guys have talked about it before. But the F key basically it announces to the rest of your team like where the enemy is. So sometimes at the beginning of the match, I will literally just sit there and spam my F key, because as long as you have them within the crosshair, you can see that it is going to it's going to highlight them a little bit. Trust me, this is a team-based game. You cannot be Rambo and be so successful. So being able to just add that to or to your team dynamic. If you are painting targets, I guarantee you your team will do better. And if you are, we lost. Thanks, Slasher. If I saw myself on the top of the scoreboards, but if you are not painting targets, then you're going to just die over and over again. But I kind of like that aspect of the game. If you have a recon, guess what, recon? In addition to sniping people, you should be painting targets. If you're in a fight, I can't help you unless I know that there's, But I like this aspect of the game. I don't think we see it in so much. A lot of times it's, hey, you fired, you showed up on radar. Now it kind of gives the team like this is an additional skill that it goes into being a part of a team.
Yeah, basically, we weave it into the fiction of the game. The fiction of the game is that we have the Internet of the future. This future Earth is what's called SIN, the SIN network, which is, I always get the acronym wrong, Shared Intelligence Network.
Yes, that's
yes,
right.
Okay.
SIN.
I call it Strategic Intelligence Network because it's a little bit of both. But imagine that this is kind of like an augmented reality, right? And so everything that you're looking at in the real world is overlaid with data. And we actually share this concept through the entire PvE world as well as the PvP world.
Right.
So what other players can see gets shared with other players. So you can paint targets in the open world as well. So, but yeah, I think the idea that we, and Scott was very big on this, is like we want teams to work together to gather information, especially the recon, right? To gather information, to have this sort of like other layer of gameplay on top of it that was very strategic based on information gathering, and we actually have more plans to use that in PvP.
Scott, how are you in the game but not in the game?
I was AFK, and I guess currently when you come back in, it's kind of cool. I AFK'd out, and when I logged back in, it actually put me right back in with you. There's a time limit, so if you disconnect or whatever, you can get back into where you were. But I think currently there's a little glitch in the system where you lose the scoreboard and stuff. But now it's kicking me out.
Oh,
so,
and now it's putting us into a match. All right.
So we'll leave Team Chat and we'll jump back in.
That's all
yeah.
good. That's all good.
But that's kind of neat. 'Cause
so-
you do disconnect occasionally. Stuff happens, and you can at least jump back in.
Yeah. So the other questions that I was getting a lot is like, can you relate some of the classes to maybe different styles of other FPSs? And I think that you can. I think that if you're a rocket guy, then you're going to like the assault. I think that if you're a railgun guy, you're going to like the recon. Engineer is like, in terms of, because of course I use Quake as a lot of my basis, but engineer is very unique to the way it works, because you've got the turrets, and I'll tell you what, there are some clever ass engineers out there, because there have been times where I've been getting my ass blasted. I'm like, where the hell is the turret? And then you find that they just put it perfectly on this little rafter underneath, and I really do, like that aspect of it.
It's fun.
Well, I mean, it makes it frustrating too, but it does make it fun.
Except my friend
It's
request,
definitely
Marcus.
one of those things.
Oh, my.
Now, we've got nighttime PvP.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
And this is something that definitely a lot of people have said. Now, I think it's kind of cool that the PvP actually goes, in relation to the cycles of the PvE. However, if we look at it from a competitive standpoint, if I'm playing over a 3-day tournament, is it actually fair that one team got to play in a full light PvP match, and we actually had to play versus the toughest team in a nighttime?
Yeah.
Do you foresee this maybe changing just like a little bit? Like, if you were throwing an official tournament, would it be all daytime, or do you guys feel like the cycles are absolutely an imperative part of the way the game will continue to go from a competitive standpoint?
I think the cycles are awesome for like the pickup games, just queuing and playing a pub game against other guys. It gives you an experience that changes each time you play based on the time. But we are also aware that for the competitive players, they want everything to be as consistent as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
The loadouts, the conditions of the map, all of that needs to be explicitly settable by whoever is putting on the tournaments, and that's something that we are planning on adding to the game.
Yeah, so we can lock time during tournaments.
Marcus, accept my notification to join my squad, and then
I'm
we'll
on it.
PvP. And again, like going back to the PvP side of this game, like you have this atmospheric condition where it's day and night. It is based on the time zone in Brazil where Copacabana is. So it's kind of neat. So it ties in.
Yeah.
Is it really?
It's nuts.
And it's seasonal too.
Yeah.
So
it changes with sunrise and sunset and all that. So
Actually,
it's kind of
the
neat.
position of the sun is calculated based on how it would move.
Crush that,
Nice.
dude.
Helps to have a PhD in mathematics doing that stuff for you.
yeah, we're
Thanks,
actually
Lucy's
set
style.
on a globe.
Marcus,
so
did
we
you?
actually have a
I did
1/10
invite you,
scale
dude.
size Earth that
Yeah.
we're set on.
I think like it already filled up a little bit. So
I want to talk a little bit more about these classes. I mean, the top two games with classes in it right now is Team Fortress 2. That's pretty much the top class-based FPS game right now. And then you have RCW and Tribes and et cetera that have classes before. How do you differentiate between those other games and similar types of classes that have developed over the history of FPS?
How do we? We usually don't worry about those games too much, right? We've been influenced by them, we've played them, we've understood what is fun, but what we do for Firefall is really about what we think is best for Firefall. Just because another game does something, and if we choose to include that mechanic in our game, that's great, but it doesn't mean that we have to do things a certain way just based on how those other games have done it. We don't mind breaking rules. It's one of the things that I think leads to innovation, is to allow yourself the freedom to explore different types of classes and roles. And I would expect us in the future, as we add more and more battle frame types, that you'll see more exploration from us in terms of what those battle frames can do for you.
Yeah, we don't really approach it like saying, oh, this class is great, let's start with a copy of that class. I think it starts with, hey, what role do we want to fill, and what successful mechanics from all these games have been the most fun for that type of role. And so it's an amalgamation, is that the right word? Amalgamy?
Yeah, something like that.
Amalgamy
Close
of
enough. Sounds good.
a plethora of different ideas.
So one of the other things when we talk a little bit about the what is actually important, like things to know, the execution system I think is very important for any new player. Just to kind of understand that, like, if you get a kill, it's not necessarily a kill. Like it will register as a kill, but or XP wise, you'll see it on your screen, but that player's not really dead quite yet.
You don't get the point. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Which I love, because, and there we go, they killed me, but they revived the guy that I killed. which meant that they got the point. I lost the point. We're getting crushed right now.
I'm not in.
That's okay. Oh, that's why we're getting
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Clearly.
That's why we're getting crushed.
I'm going to try to spectate your match, actually, while we're...
But this is again, one of those things that does make it different from some of the FPSs. It's not just like a kill, go, don't worry about that guy, keep going. I've also found that it really changes the dynamic of how I am focusing on working with my teammates.
Yeah.
Because if I get in a 1v1 and I kill the guy, but then another enemy's teammate comes up and kills me, then that 1v1 wasn't really that beneficial for my team. So it made sense that I would spend more time focusing on, well, I need to go in with my team.
Yeah.
Because if we do lose this battle, or we lose 1 or 2 guys but still kill everyone else, we can deny them the points. How much do you feel like that is going to play into the overall competitive aspect of Firefall?
I think it depends on what type of competition you're really talking about. Like, revives are crucial when it's you're killing the other team as the method of scoring. They're less important for other game types that don't necessarily really score based on that. Like Orbital Comm Tower is about the time. It's not about depth and revives. So based on the game type, I think it can have a large impact. But the revive system in general, we put in because we wanted to give players more choice, more options to be stars for their team, and it also ends up giving us a lot more team strategy. I mean, some of the most epic moments that I've seen, watching these teams play is when you have those big swings between one team charges the other team, and it's this huge battle, and most of the guys are down, but it's the survivors that then change that into a much bigger swing for their team. And those are the moments that we really find enjoyable about that style of mechanic.
I love the little cat and mouse game it creates.
Yeah.
As soon as there's 2 people down, do you go for it, or are you just sniper bait?
Yep.
Is that sniper bait at that point, right? So you got to be situationally aware before you go in for the execute. Your teammates are always looking to revive you, to pick you up, to deny the other side a point.
Yeah, and some of the classes have things that they can do that actually make it more easier for them to accomplish those roles. Like, for example, the Dreadnought and Thunderdome. Like, it's one of my funnest moments is like when I see a fallen teammate, I'll run up to him, I'll pop that Thunderdome, and then sit down and start reviving as the guys are trying to shoot me. I'm like, what's up?
Yeah.
The Biotech Poison Cloud, the hide the revive is pretty fun as well.
And I mean, in that regard, like, anyone can heal in the game, which was also very important. Like, a lot of people said, oh, well, I'm not a medic, or we don't have a medic, but anyone technically can revive a down. I should have not said heal. I should have said revive. Can revive like a downed opponent. Definitely a very important aspect as well. Like, you need to go into this game knowing that this is an option and a possibility.
Well, and it's a huge part of it. Like yesterday, prime example, Complexity fragged the hell out of the developers.
Yep.
Lots of kills in the sense of individual, but terrible on the revives versus the developers were all over the revives. So they won, not on their fragging, like knock the guy down skills, but keeping the guys back up and not letting Complexity revive, right? And they got thumped because of it. So it really, even though it's deathmatch, it's not team in that sense. It's very much made into a team game because of that. Keep an eye on your friends.
You can play it a whole different way. They played a game of denial. They denied them all the points that they got. Yeah.
And it can even be more important. Like, one of the other game types that we had working back in the past was a game type that was similar to this called arena mode, where you would spawn, but there is no respawning. And the first team that completely eliminates the other team gets a point. In that game, reviving is huge.
So now this revive execute system that's in the game kind of removes the aspect of instant respawn, which we have seen in the history of FPS. It's a big portion of FPS games. Why decide to go here instead of having the aspect of being able to respawn instantly right after death?
I think it goes purely into the team aspect, right? If we can just shoot and kill other players and that's all we can do, then we're limited in that dimension. When I can help you in ways that are diametrically opposed to what they're doing, then it can create a much more dynamic experience for all of us, right? Because now it's not just the first down, it's the resolution of that down and what method you use to do it.
I got some questions during the break as well about, people obviously identify the support with the spectator client, which I saw you win in, and you were able to find me and spectate the game, which
and I
is
think
really
after break,
cool.
I'll spectate you,
Okay.
and then we can actually
and show some of that.
I'll show the spectator.
But a lot of people are like, what is in it for the extended life of Firefall competition? I mean, it's kind of hard to say because there's a part. Oh, by the way, can we go to my screen right now? Right now. This side of the map is so damn OP. This side sucks ass. It sucks. Like, I'm gonna come out here. Hold on, this is really important. I'm gonna come out here. I'm gonna go past these little reactors, and when I come in here, everyone is up there having the
Already
best
at the advantage.
They're
Yeah.
already up on the rafters. They're kicking my ass. I talked to the guys about this last night. They're like, yeah, we know. But yeah, anyway, just had to get that out there. Where was I had like a really important point in there that
Spectator
we were talking about.
long haul.
It's like the support. Obviously, the possibility of tournaments thrown by you guys.
Yep.
What do you guys want to see? Like, what would be your goal? If all the pieces fell into place perfectly, people are loving the game from a competitive perspective. There's clans, there's different tiers of clans, different like skill sets levels. But what is your guys like? What would be the picture perfect?
At the risk of, every time we talk about esports or PvP, everyone just assumes that we don't care about PvE in the open world, right? And
then maybe vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand
and
that.
because we develop in phases, sometimes we focus a lot of our energy on one side of the game. But I like to say, just because we mow the lawn doesn't mean we're not going to go clean up the house.
Right.
And so, with that caveat in mind, I'm willing to talk a little bit about our esports plans.
All right.
So basically, this means that we love open world. It's not going away, but esports is an aspect to this game too. If things worked out perfectly, we would love to see a shooter rise to the fore in terms of competitive gameplay and being televised as an esport in much the way that like League games are or StarCraft is. I don't think we've seen it to that scale yet. And what's that going to take? I think it's going to take, like I said, it's not just a focus on the gameplay side of it, but also focus on the spectator side and providing the tools and the mechanisms to have people self-arrange tournaments, right? I think that's huge. It's right now very awkward to try to get something scheduled. So yeah, I mean that's our for the esports side of it. That is our goal. It's like, can we take a shooter to this level?
And on the PvE side, we want to provide an experience that is fun for those guys to have a good shooter experience. That occasionally, I do go and play PvP. It's almost like we have two different girlfriends. We have our PvP girlfriend and our PvP girlfriend, and we're trying to keep them both happy. But I don't know if you've ever tried to juggle two girlfriends. It's a pain.
Well, at least you didn't say one's the wife and one's the mistress, right? At least you got them on equal footing. You got them on equal footing.
Yeah, we're married to both.
and again, I think after the break, we're definitely going to dive into more of the business side of it and how your plans compare to a Valve's plans or a Riot's or a Blizzard's and how they've approached their games. And the one thing I would want to say to the community is, Day 9 was here the other day, and I think he set the record for number of people watching, and I think you all know we have to beat that today. So
all the competitive fans,
come on,
all the esports.
No offense, Sean, but yeah,
all the cool kids are doing it.
So get out there, tweet this URL, lets everyone know that Live on 3 is doing their show. Let's just see if we can beat Sean at something, right?
Because it's not going to be StarCraft. But if we did, I did really try to queue up against Sean because I knew I was crushing.
Crushed.
But,
I actually want to ask a few more things about still the game itself.
Okay.
So, of course, there's a tribe influence, and you have the jetpacks.
Yes.
But you don't have skiing, and you don't have a movement for when you fall that you can continue to gain speed to continue on forward.
Right.
How have you designed, because it almost is a very movement-based game, even more so than, attacking. Of course, weapons and attacking are very much part of it, but a movement is a huge part of the game. Why did you decide not to add a skiing-type mechanic to continue speed?
Well, it's not that we didn't decide to add it. It's like we put it in, tried it, didn't like the way that it felt, and turned it off. It's not skiing in the sense of tribes, whereas there was an active mechanic where you could do it, unless you're Phobos and scripted it.
And the only one else use it. Yeah.
You can ask him. He's on the community set.
So we explored this concept of skiing, or not skiing. We called it sliding the style, to where certain surfaces, your character, if you pressed a button, you would slide down. that may be something that we bring back. But in order for a mechanic like that to work, you really have to know going in that you're going to build for it, right? You have to design those routes for the slides to occur. And a lot of our maps right now are built without that mechanic in mind. So if we do decide to bring some mechanic like that back, then we'll also have to design spaces where those mechanics work.
Oh, our team just crushed those guys.
But I love the concept of skiing. I mean, that was like the original happy accident, you know, in my career. It's like when that occurred, it's like, okay, we're going to leave it in the game because this is awesome.
It seems like some of the best mechanics of all time in every game are accidents that were never intended. Strafing was never intended to be done in Quake, and that's
very true.
What was it for this game? Has there been anything you've seen that's been broken by accident that you felt was now could be a feature?
Broken by accident that is a feature now.
Well,
These all
Thumper
become
Chicken.
features.
Thumper Chicken in the open world is a game type that we did not foresee.
Oh, that's true.
But I don't know if that's a
I
PvP
actually appreciate Thumper
mechanic.
Chicken. You know, we might need an actual event around that.
I want a PvP map where all we do is throw thumpers at each other.
That was pretty funny. Day one, one of you guys got thumped. I think it was the very first day. I don't think it was either you two, but one of the
it was James.
the Red 5 guys had a thumper drop. He was talking to Felicia or whatever. Will got like right on the stream. It was great.
So you're fighting in the air a lot with these jetpacks, and your movement in the air is a big concern because of how enemies are going to fight you and how you're able to dodge out of projectiles that are going to be.
Well, there's two concerns. It's either I can't hit you in the air, or if you go up and I'm a good player, you're a duck, right?
Right.
So we have the two extremes of the gameplay right now.
Do you feel that it's at the best right now? Do you think there might need to be more air control? We talked a little bit about this yesterday.
We're still exploring, you know, what will improve our overall experience, and you know, we're going to try some things.
We've
roll
added
some of these.
more air control.
Yeah, we have added more air control. We're talking about, you know, maybe some air control abilities as an option to slot in. We'll try these things, see what our community thinks. What, you know, the ultimate things that will work, you know, is what we'll stick with. It's the willingness to try, learn, and fail, and jettison if it doesn't work.
How do you foresee, what abilities that you want to use for each of the characters, and then what is standard for everyone to use at one time?
Right now, we don't have any abilities that are, well, like, with the exception of like a sister frame, you know, all the abilities are specific to a battle frame. We don't have any cross ability battle frames. That's what makes a battle frame kind of unique, is that the abilities kind of define how you're going to play that particular battle frame, and they combo with your weapons usually.
But how would you decide whether that might be something you want to use as an ability, or that would be standard for everything in the game?
Oh, okay. So we have done some things like that, to where we've taken something that was an ability and then made it a traditional movement thing. Like
Jetpacks.
sprinting was one of those, right? Initially, the biotech could sprint,
sprinting,
and then we added that to all classes.
All right. Well, we're going to keep it going. Yeah, I think we're going to go to a quick break, guys. But when we return, we're going to keep on talking to these guys about Firefall. Join us in the channel. Tweet us your questions at LiveOn3. We've still got plenty more to talk about. Thanks for joining us for Day 5 of the Firefall Fest. We'll be right back after this.
Humans. This world is everything to you. You struggle and tear at each other. You claw at the dirt, scratching together an existence in the dust. All this because you think you can save this world. You are mistaken. This world is chosen.
Drop points incoming. Take it out! Take it out!
landmines and deployable turrets online.
Okay, back up and regroup at drop site.
Roger that. I'm coming in.
Hey, call in the Thumper.
Echo Bravo 984. Extraction site secured. Over.
That'll keep the bugs out.
Approaching drop site, package en route.
Right on schedule.
Turret 3's out. 1 and 5 are down. Just lost 4. I'm out!
Welcome back, guys, to the Firefall Fest. It's day 5 here, Friday. Thank God it is Friday. That means you're going to have all weekend to play Firefall because you've already gotten your Founders Pack and you're ready to rock and roll. So we want to talk. We discussed during the break, like, what have we not grilled them about? Slasher, you want to bring up the first topic. You said secondary weapons you are not really thrilled about.
Yes, and this was echoed by Bravo Complexity yesterday when we were talking about it in the room. Some of the secondary weapons for the first tier don't seem so useful. Haven't really used them at all. I feel like I would just rather stick with primary weapons. Do you feel that there are going to be some buffs needed for secondary weapons? Do you want to change that up at all? And in Unreal also, wait. In Unreal also, I think they had a similar type of problem where secondary weapons were not used as much as primary.
In my experience already, which I think, I'm playing Assault. I get a rocket hit. I get a second rocket hit. The third rocket hit isn't worth it when I can pull out my assault rifle and I can mow them down just like it was a machine gun in Quake. Now, I can't speak for every single secondary weapon. I can imagine like the Recon, for example, is going to rely on their secondary weapon quite a bit more. But I've found that for me, it was actually just rebinding it to something that made it really comfortable to switch weapons. And then it's like quick weapon swap. I'm like, this secondary weapon is the best thing ever because boom, boom, damage, cleanup.
Yeah. So you used it more as the end.
I use it for cleanup. Yep. But I also, as Assault, use it for when I see like 3 guys going up against 1 and I know that my teammate's going to die, I'll sit back, I'll scope, and I'll just do damage. I'll just, try to do as much damage as I can. so that the rest of my team can go in and clean up. So I think that there's more than one. I think a lot of it is like, right, this is the metagame too. Like, how are people using some of these weapons? But anyway, so what do you think?
Well, the overall design of the secondary weapons kind of speaks to their name. They're secondary weapons, right? Our goal was not to make them viable as a primary weapon. No. The primary weapons really kind of dictate how this specific battle frame is supposed to be played. The choice of your secondary weapons is really to accentuate how you want to play it. Like, you have different choices that you can add to the battle frames based on what you want out of your secondary weapon.
Right.
For example, like the biotech, he starts with a grenade launcher, which is awesome for him, right? Because he's got his little needler, which is great for doing a little bit of damage, but he doesn't have any AoE damage. But this is one way that he could actually belt out some AoE damage. But if you don't like a grenade launcher, you're free to change to any of the other secondary weapons because they fit your playstyle better.
Part of it is what you do with the secondary weapon in terms of crafting one. Like, I've seen a video of a guy that just got frustrated fighting dreadnoughts all the time, so he took his shotgun secondary weapon and he crafted the heck out of it.
Yes.
Nerfed all his other abilities, like movement and everything else. And he was going around, like, just killing dreadnoughts left and right.
So he did the sacrifice, one for the other, to build that up. Okay.
He used choice, right, and his intelligence, and he was able to do something that gave him an advantage, and he was smart because he does that. And that's actually, there's a lot of design in Firefall that is really geared toward giving you those choices. If you figure out how to use it in this way, it's awesome. That to me is fun for me when I play games and I can learn stuff.
What's your name over there, Slasher, so I can queue up with you? Because I think Scott was going to drop.
Yeah, I'll join in and
spectate.
spectate, and we'll talk about their spectator tool.
I'll find out in a second.
When we get in.
You'll find
he's
out
zoning in.
It's not Slasher because someone took it.
Yeah, someone took Slasher.
See, if you had bought a Founders Pack, you could reserve your name forever.
Yeah, but you messed up.
Complexity, Jason Lake, Jason Bass thought they killed me all week.
They were so excited about that.
They were so excited.
So excited about that.
Bragging me over Skype. I beat the crap out of you all the time.
No, you
didn't.
Oh, no, you
What's
didn't.
your name, sir? Where are you?
Oh, you're cut off at the top of the screen. We have to look over here.
What?
What's it say over here? Right monitor.
Oh, Brandy Meal. Okay, got
Brandy Meal?
Got it.
Is that
Got
what
it.
it is?
Oh, he's Brandy Meal. Yep.
This is our
a
AI
very
name
manual
generator. It picks up, your typing rhythm and stuff, and picks the perfect name for your personality.
Yes.
Could I invite command line? Friend invite?
And those that are kind of unfamiliar
/invite.
On how the whole queuing thing works, there's two different ways to queue into PvP. You can walk up to a PvP station, right? If you guys are on my screen, and I can use this terminal, but you don't need to. You can hit the cube K button. Or whatever you bind it to, right? And it's going to give you the options of what they've made available in the sense of, game types. I think you guys are still kind of messing with Sabotage and Harvester. Everyone seems to be playing Deathmatch right now, right? That's the plan. Kind of another cool thing about this is the ability to watch, and we're going to show the spectator client when you guys get in game. And basically right now I can pull down the watch mode here, and it's going to load up every live match that's being played currently in the scene, as well as if there were replays. I don't see any replays right now.
We did see
Click on watch matches.
some replays throughout the week, and I just want to take a moment to pause. And
so there you go. Okay.
I feel like you guys deserve a lot of credit. Like there's probably like people that are in love with the game. There's probably people that like maybe not necessarily the same game, the game for me. But most importantly is that we oftentimes, especially on Live on 3, we talk about you really should be recognizing developers and companies that are creating tool sets to make competitive gaming better for the audience. Because frankly, we've had too many games that were great to play competitively, but had no medium for sharing that with the world, for making it so a broadcaster can hop on Twitch and just, do their own weekend tournament or something like that. And the fact that you guys have already such a robust tool set is really impressive. And I urge anyone out there, like even if you maybe are not interested in the game, learn about the tool set, because this is the kind of stuff that you want in every game out there. And I have a feeling that people are gonna look at the Firefall esports tool set and they're gonna say, that's a pretty good bar to shoot for. And what happens in this industry, someone tries to do it one little bit better and then it kind of evolves. Like to me, I feel like it should be an engine. Like the spectator is a part of the engine. You've got your graphics engine, your sound engine, you got this, and guess what? Spectator, to me, it's one of the most important things. When if anytime anyone's like, this could be an esports game, great, does it have a spectator client? No, it's not really, I don't feel like it can make it.
I think it's going to be like the time where, games were largely single player, and then they said, well, you're going to have to invest into multiplayer, right? I think we're going to see another phase where it's like, well, you're going to have to invest into spectator tools and broadcaster tools because your game is now connected with this whole community, and you need to reach them too.
Yep. And it's important, to get we're a free-to-play game, and we realized that, esports was a great avenue for us to provide not just something that's fun to spectate, but also as an avenue to try and encourage people to give Firefall a try, because there's no entry cost. Go out, download the client, play for free.
It's also a great tool for design, to be able to have replays and everything.
Definitely.
And like scrub through them. It can really shorten your tuning and balance time too, because you can actually, when people get complaints, you can look up their match and stuff. You can see exactly what was going on with them.
Yep. Now, that actually brings up a question that I had, because I felt like one of the things, and if this is in the game, I don't know how to do it, please do tell me. But one of the things is that as I'm progressing through a tier, I may notice that, Jimmy McAssault is like, wow, I really like this guy is kicking my ass. Like, I don't know if maybe it's like a certain weapon that he's using or maybe one of the abilities that he's using. But I always was like, gosh, I would really love to be able to, at the end of the match during the scoreboard, like right-click a guy's name and look at his loadout and go, gosh, that's how I want to, that's how I want to build my assault.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could do such a good thing for the meta, because you really do have two types of gamers. You have the kind that will follow the meta, and then you also have the kind that will basically create the meta game, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I felt like if I could have done that throughout my initial progression, that I would have, been able to maybe go the tree that I wanted to go a lot easier than
Nero.
That's a really good idea. I mean, we don't have that right now. What we have in spectator mode is you can hit P to bring up the player card for a player.
Right.
And broadcasters will be able to configure that with any number of data that they want to show.
Which I've done over here, so we can see that I'm looking at. I'm in the spectator tool, by the way, guys. I'm not in game. And again, if you saw earlier, I have a very easy way to kind of find wheat. It'll be even easier once you've got better friend lists and all those kind of things. But you can watch live games, or you can watch recorded, replay demos, whatever you want to call them, in the system with fast forwarding, rewinding, slow-mo, and all this cool stuff. But right now, I'm live watching this match. It is slightly delayed. I want to say 30 seconds to a minute, which again, takes away the ghosting, even though your game's very less campy and fast. It's very fast-paced, but still, you want a little bit of buffer. So again, we're watching Marcus, and we're watching him in third person. And one thing that we haven't talked about is this game is first-person shooter, but it can be a third-person shooter for you as well. All based on how you like to play the game. So right now I'm watching Marcus in third person, but just like Marcus can play either way, so can I watch. So if I click my middle button, he's going to now be first person for me when he's dead, though.
Not while he's dead.
But you can see his player cards pulled up, so it kind of gives me a little bit of information. He's got a winning record. He's 23 out of 22. Very close, Marcus. You need to work on that. And I think Marcus's point is he wants even more information about this guy. His tech tree, how he's spec'd out his
abilities
character.
does he use? Does he use Afterburner?
Yep.
Does
Like
he
how
use,
he's loaded out right now. Very cool stuff. But again, looking at the spectator tool in a bigger way, they got everything bound, so every player has a number. So again, as a broadcaster, you've got 1 to 5 and 6 to 0. That's your two sides, right? Marcus was 6 before. I don't know what he is now. But again, I can scroll through each guy. And again, I'm in first-person mode for them. Now I am. So as a broadcaster, I've got all my POVs. And the POVs seem to be pretty true to the real POV, right? It's coded in the sense that some games we've watched where once you get inside that guy's head, it's not really how he sees. Crosshairs are off, those kind of things.
Right.
This seems to be pretty dead on. Another cool feature that they've got, and I want to say it's enter. No, what M? No, wait. Which gives me the big map?
You can't bring up a map in this mode, but you can go to overhead.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. What is that? I just
F12.
Oh, it is 12. Is it? Yeah. What the heck? Is it 12?
F1.
Oh, F1.
F1. There we go. Okay.
Sorry.
So, so not only do you have your POVs,
I know something Scott doesn't.
You can jump in like everybody's view. They've got a series of overviews. They've got an action cam, for lack of a better word, kind of mode. I want to say that maybe is F2, where it kind of which one is it? It's one of them where it kind of jumps to the heat. But I'm in overview mode, right? So now I can see the entire map. So I'm a broadcaster. Hey, welcome to the Tribes Firewall. Tribes. I call it Tribes. See what you're doing to me, Tribes guy. Tribes. Talk about old school. TSN, the whole 9 yards. So again, as a storyteller of a competitive thing, you want this kind of stuff because then you can talk about maps and how they're laid out and where spawns are and where, power-ups are. One thing we talked about last night is, again, cool thing.
Okay.
Oh man, they've lost my feed, so you guys can't see my stuff.
It's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome.
Really awesome. Oh,
You should see this.
It's actually really, really
tracts
cool.
of land.
Phenomenal graphics.
But one thing you can't see is this really cool map, right? And yesterday, I believe, the release came out. I'm a Counter-Strike guy. That's my home game. Like these guys have Quake, and for years we were spoiled by Half-Life TV. Wasn't even created by Valve themselves. It was created by an outside guy. Coded this amazing spectator tool that has kind of become the benchmark of what a pretty decent spectator tool is, right? It obviously works different than in your game because you have to have a Half-Life TV client in the private dedicated server and all those things to serve the view. But one of the things, they finally put it out for Go. So again, nod to you guys. You have a very, very robust tool in place and your game's not even out yet.
Yep.
Counter-Strike developers, Valve has known for years how cool that tool is. They should have had it at Go's launch. It's now just slowly starting to arrive.
Yep.
They've added a tool in their map overview that gives you the ability to telestrate. So I can sit here and I can click on a pen and I'm at the overview. Okay, CTs are going to spawn here. One of their main routes is this way. They're going to choke point.
I did not know they added that. We've
added
been
it.
planning that for a long time.
It's on our list.
It is already on the list. Perfect. Because I think that tells the story, especially when you start breaking down map strategies.
I'm sad now. I'm sad we're not going to be the first. Oh well.
I didn't mean to break that bad news to you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we wanted to get really technically, Guild Wars in their mini map had telestration.
A little draw.
And then when they did the observer mode, they did it. But it's something like so far, I'm not sure that we've seen anyone really use it properly. I mean, you know what? Drawing penises is really cool and everything. Gets a laugh. But I mean, as a commentator myself, I feel there are definitely big advantages to teach people about why players did this or why a team did that. And of course, every game's going to be a little bit different. But when you're talking about something that's objective based, then maybe showing this team's favorite path happens to be this way. I definitely do see a lot of benefit for that.
That could even be fun for team planning. How cool would it be at the beginning of the map if you could draw your game plan for your team?
Now I'm frustrated.
Right.
I'm thinking about, how can we one up this? Maybe it's a Connect style.
Yeah.
Woo. It's all Minority Report.
Go here, kill this guy. Well, and another thing that we can't show yet, but it is in one of your teaser videos when they're talking about the esports side of it.
Yes.
Roulette is in that bit. And they show a guy that's sitting at a dual screen monitor and he's got the spectator client opened as maybe Marcus will show after next break, but next to him is a whole second monitor and all it is mini POVs.
Yep.
So he can he as the director of his own stream or whatever can see everybody instead of having to kind of flip through and kind of maybe almost preemptively know where the action might be to then be able to show the viewer.
You're going to need some pretty boss hardware for that.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, you're going to need multiple graphics cards, but yeah, that is a mode that we are planning to implement.
Very cool.
And we're also, we want to actually provide broadcasters with even more database access to the characters, because one thing we've been talking a lot to guys in Major League Baseball about how baseball evolved as a sport, right? In terms of how it had to adapt for television. And one point that we got back was you need tools to tie it into the larger game. So it's not just about the game you're viewing; it's about the whole sport. You need to know instantly. Oh my God, this is the shortest capture time ever in OCT, and set by so and so and so and so. So we want to provide those database tools. But we might actually have a broadcaster status, and so you have to apply to be a broadcaster, or maybe take I don't know what it is, just something that flags your character that says, okay, you are a broadcaster. We will let you have this additional data so that you can really bring it back into the context.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
He mentioned baseball, but I want to make one more point. You showed the player card earlier that had DJ Wheatstat. Well, I want that to be even more contextual, to where if you're fighting DJ Wheat, then it will pull up your history, and you'll be able to talk about that at the same time.
Yep.
There's a promise.
There you go.
Did you just promise a feature?
Whoops.
I thought only I do that and get in trouble.
Oh, we promised a ton of features.
All right, so Marcus is deep in this game, so I'm going to go ahead and throw us to the Tiki Lounge. They're going to give away more keys, more good stuff, so you want to definitely hang out. Again, We got to beat Day 9, right?
Yep.
We love him like nobody's business, but it's time to show him that he's not the king of all things, right? So I think he hit 5,500 maybe somewhere in there.
5,500.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I think you guys can do 6,900.
Make it happen.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Tiki Lounge. Phobos Faded Pez here. We're still looking for Tony. He keeps walking off the set in the middle of the
I think he went to go find 6,900 viewers.
6,900 viewers. You guys heard the challenge. You can do it. I believe in it. Spread the word. One thing I did want to bring up before we get into any kind of prizes or anything is that if you guys missed any of the other streams, including Day 9's as they were talking about, all of those are up on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/stage5. You can access that. Not only do you get all the stuff from Firefall Fest, but you also get all the other Firefall videos. And even though they're over there just talking really loud and laughing a lot, and I can pick them up on my mic, we can go ahead and access that YouTube channel.
Hey.
And the FSN videos, so you guys have seen those commercials on there with Philip.
Did you see Chuck?
You didn't bring me any coffee?
Are we live right now?
Yeah. Yeah, we've been live for about 2 minutes.
We're a little early. You want some? Good thing that was empty. Good thing that was a prop cup. I had no idea that was a prop cup. What if that was full of hot coffee?
I would have spilled it all over you.
God, that is so dangerous. If that was not a prop cup. Oh, okay. All right, that's fine.
It's fine.
Wow.
Tony did bring over a huge sack for us, though.
Yes.
You do have a huge sack that you carried over.
Yes, I do. I've been carrying this sack since I was born.
Really? You only started working here like a month ago?
Hey, like 3 months ago.
Oh,
wow. That's a lot more than just one. I have got a big sack here, a Red 5 swag bag. It is,
I'm just weighing it. Give it an approximation.
I think
that's
an
an oddly shaped sack.
You know, let's not comment on my sack, all right? This is taking a turn, and I don't like where this is headed at all. Okay? You felt it. You're describing it. I'm uncomfortable. Let's just give this away.
Can you hold it up a little higher, please?
Oh, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Okay, we're done with that joke. That line of thinking is over. That was so wrong.
But all seriousness,
we are
I
live.
do applaud your form. That was very good form. The speed and accuracy you were doing, that was perfect. Anyway,
I've had a lot of practice.
Oh God. Okay.
We can't cut this, guys.
All right. We are live, right? Like they just saw what you just said.
Oh, geez. Okay, what's in the bag?
Oh, what the heck?
What's in the bag? We're done with that joke. You hold it.
I'm trying to wash my hands of this. I got too much dirty bag on my hand.
We do have the miniatures in the bag for those of you that have not seen these before. I also have the thumper out here. But we have some miniatures that we made. Typhon, Morningstar, and a nice.
Thumper?
Whoa.
Jesus.
Check that out.
Have you never seen it before?
It's awesome.
I know it is.
Freaking out though.
You are, but you kind of scared me right there.
Yeah.
I broke it.
We can put it back together. Don't worry.
We've got
send you the
awesome
broken
shot glass, or what did you call this? What does Disney
It's
call
a
this?
toothpick holder.
Toothpick holder.
For Jesus.
For those of you with your
What else we
collection
got?
of toothpicks.
4-port USB hub.
And I just dropped one of the models. Don't worry about that. We won't ship that one
That
to
model's
you.
broken. You will get the bag with all this stuff in it. So
some awesome art postcards.
Yeah, awesome art. We've got the coffee mugs.
Yep.
For you, and also
What about the beer mug?
The blue Firefall T-shirt.
Yep.
It's going to you. And if you have won a T-shirt or are going to win a T-shirt, not that you know that you're going to win a T-shirt, unless you're like telepathic, in which case,
that's crazy.
Send me a message because I'd like to discuss some things with you, especially lottery numbers. Moving on.
What about the beer mug?
That's it. The beer mug?
We used to have a beer mug.
We used to have a beer mug.
All right.
Throw in the beer mug.
He's trying to
beer
keep...
mug. You want me to throw it in? There you go. You got so scared.
No, so I did get scared.
so
My
scared.
heart jumped a little bit there.
I just got the reaction skills of a cat or a cheetah. Think about that.
You had a sandwich thrown at you when you were in high school, middle school, whatever.
They developed through time. Back then, they weren't so hot. I saw a sandwich, I said, "Nurr," and it hit me. Today, I would catch it in my mouth.
What'd you say?
What? I said, "Nurr." Sandwich.
Okay, anyways, how are we giving this away, Tony?
Oh, man. There's just so many options.
There's really only like 4.
Okay, well, that's true. Let's do Twitch. I
Twitch
think,
again.
I think we need to show some Twitch love. because
I believe I turned off slow mode. I'm a little new at this, guys, so give me a break.
They already figured out what to type on Twitch.
They're already
What are you
typing
typing?
nerd sandwich.
Sandwich. That is funny. But you're incorrect.
No, that's
That's not what we're gonna make them do.
Oh, what are we gonna do?
See, they think they know me so well.
I thought they were telepathic.
It's not nerd sandwich. It's Ermagerd sandwich. See?
There you go.
It's so different, right?
Yeah, because that is so different.
It's a lot different.
Ermagerd
sandwich. If you want the swag pack, Ermagerd sandwich.
Here they come.
Oh, here we go.
Oh my God.
Oh wow, we're blowing
geez.
it up.
And I'm
Ermagerd.
just gonna randomly scroll here while that's happening. Woo! You can't read it, can you?
No, I can't.
That's exactly the point.
Plus, I'm closing my eyes.
Wherever I stop. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Killosaurus. Killosaurus was the first name I saw.
Good job.
Killosaurus. Send me a message on Twitch.
What's your name on Twitch?
The Cheese. THACHEEZ. Because I'm cool.
Yep.
So with a Z. You know?
Just all stuff on my laptop.
All right, that's fine. Here we go. Okay, I've
Can you
only
open
got
up
2
your sack,
hands.
please?
You know,
I just wanted to drop it in.
oh, this is just
Those reflexes came in really
Good.
handy.
terrible.
I also want to give away some T-shirts though, because we didn't do that last break.
We haven't done T-shirts in a while.
Here you go.
We should give away.
Some awesome
How
T-shirts.
about 3 of them?
Three of them? 3 of them?
Wow.
Great. We normally do 2.
3 of these. We're giving away 3 T-shirts, you guys. I'm just gonna again pick from the people that did
Ermagerd sandwich.
Ermagerd sandwich. Death by Spin. Death by Spin.
Oh yeah, Death by Spin. What's up?
Let's also do Betrayal 1. That's RAYL 1.
Okay,
So
he's
like
typing
Betrayal. You got it?
Betrayal
Okay.
1. Death by Spin. You know, I took a spin class and I thought I was gonna die for sure. So I know exactly what you're dealing with.
I don't think
on
it's
the
that
incline-
kind of Death by Spin.
Well, I'm just saying, if you
What if
ever
he's a
take a spin
DJ?
class, it's okay.
What if
I
he's
guess.
referring to meat spin?
What? Or what if he goes to
Oh
25
wow, we did
minutes?
not need to mention that at all. I thought we were done with that kind of comment.
Oh man, I just heard what you said in my head.
Oh Jesus.
That's horrible.
Dragon 9592. That's the last one.
Dragon 9592.
Got
You
it.
should add more numbers in there. Just saying.
So those you guys get T-shirts. Be sure to message the Cheese. We'll verify that, and we'll also try to contact you guys. But be sure to send a message. We'll give you T-shirts. Congratulations to all the winners.
Yes.
A couple of shout-outs to some places. I want to give some shout-outs to our community sites out there, like Bronodon.com.
Yeah.
They do some great stuff, including Bronodon Brawl, which is a tournament coming up, and they're working with the New Eden LGV circuit for some
right.
races. You need to have a commander pack for an LGV.
That's being held by the British Army, I believe, too.
Really? Like the real British Army?
Not the,
Yeah. No, it's a pretty big
not Her
deal.
Royal Majesties. But,
Oh, okay.
well, it could be. I don't know. For
That's
all I
not
know.
as cool then.
Who knows what Garrett's doing over there?
We also have firefall-wiki.com. The wiki could use some help. Taywin's out there trying to get as much information about Firefall as possible.
How about some of our European communities?
European communities, firefall.pl, one of our Poland communities, firefall-velten.de for you German fans.
Yes. Copacabana Express.
Copacabana Express as well. Who else do we
I
have?
think we also have Firefall.es for our Spanish community.
Firefall.es. We have forgotten
Oh,
Firefall.es.
sí, hablo español.
You are horrible at Spanish.
No, señor. Estoy muy fantástico. Sí.
If you weren't
Hola.
of Latin descent, this would be so wrong.
¿Cómo estás? My
that would be
family
racist.
hates me. Now, mi familia no me gusta.
Okay, guys. Also, don't forget, you can watch all the videos, including the FSM videos, on youtube.com/stage5. All the videos are up there. We're uploading yesterday's videos right now. It'll take a little while because it's 3 hours long each, but be sure to enjoy those. I think we're going to cut to some video breaks, and we'll be back in a minute. Have fun.
Hasta luego.
Ole.
Ole.
I'm James McCauley. I'm the Vice President of Development here at Red 5 Studios and unofficially the team cheerleader. I've been here since the beginning days, early 2006, and it's been an incredible journey to see the company grow and expand, and we're now at the point where we're nearing launch for Firefall. So when we announced Firefall, we also announced a very different development process for us, and it was one where we very much wanted to include and incorporate our community into the development of Firefall. A lot of gamers have asked us how they could support us. I think they've had so much fun that they want to support us. They want to support Firefall. They've been asking for months and months how they can do so, and now is finally an opportunity for them to do that. And we thought, what better way than to offer a Founders Pack that allows you to buy a little piece of history, to become a founding member, to have that name next to your character for life, to receive special goodies in-game, and to begin that ongoing relationship with Red 5 and with Firefall. Gamers should buy Founders Packages for multiple reasons. One, it's showing your support to Red 5 and for Firefall, and it's giving yourself an opportunity to really jump in and to contribute to the future of this game and this company. Well, so we started with one package. We wanted to give players an opportunity to support Red 5 and Firefall, but we also didn't want to exclude anyone. We wanted to give everyone an opportunity to jump in the water and to join us on this journey, and we wanted to open it up. At each increased tier, we provide a whole bunch of new stuff for you. If you purchase any of the 3 levels of Founder Packages, you will receive priority beta queuing. This means as we regularly send out new beta invites and try to grow the beta and invite new players to join us, you'll be at the front of the line. So if you're eager to get in and play Firefall, this is a great way for you to jump in front of the line and to join us in beta. At the base level of the Ensign, we offer you a whole bunch of in-game currency. We give you a special decal and founding member title. We also give you a Tiki mask because, we're all about the Tiki theme, and we thought we'd share a very personal thing. This is not a Firefall theme, it's a Red 5 theme. And so you'll get a Tiki mask that you can actually equip on your character in-game and show off that you're a founding member. We also offer you a permanent 5% XP boost at Ensign, which we think is pretty cool. It's a way for us to say thanks for your support and to give you something cool for the lifetime of your character and your account. Moving on to the Lieutenant, we increase the amount of in-game currency you get. We have a special Lieutenant decal that will show up in-game. You can place it on your battle frame and look super cool. You can also sport it on your forum avatar. We give you an increased XP boost, a 10% XP boost. First, it's the first time I've ever seen this in any game. We introduced the idea of a squad XP bonus, so that whenever you join up with your friends, you meet up with strangers, as long as they're in your squad, they're going to reap the rewards of you being a founding member and have a 5% XP boost to everything they earn. In addition, we're introducing the ability for you to reserve your army name, which is a very important thing. It's your online clan, it's your guild, and now you have early access to being able to pick your name, so choose carefully. At the commander level, we add a brand new Tiki mask, as well as the ability for you to give out 9 Ensign Tiki masks to your friends. We're a very social game. We want to make it easy for you to recruit your friends to come play with you and to join you on this journey, and we thought it'd be cool for you to have a gift to give them. We also bump up the XP bonus, so you have a permanent 15% XP boost, as well as a 10% squad boost. You also get our very first in-game vehicle. It's a limited time offering only as part of the commander package that you'll gain access to the Chopper LGV.
Let's go!
The Founders Package gives you some ridiculously cool things, and our goal when we were defining the Founders Package was seriously to offer so much value that people would be like, why would I not want to support this and get all these goodies? So you can find out more about the Founders Packs and purchase one at firefallthegame.com. It's a limited time offering. We're only going to be selling these for a short period of time during our kind of founding period of the game. So if you're interested, check it out today. Look at the different packages and see which package makes sense for you. And join us on this journey.
Karen, you know what I had for breakfast?
What did you have for breakfast?
Tang. I just had packets of Tang for breakfast.
What Phil's saying is that, it doesn't matter what your diet is and
I
your
am
nutrition.
a hungry bear.
Oh, we'll have a lunch break soon, Phil. So the shirts,
Is that right?
Back to the shirts, they're stain resistant.
What time are we doing lunch?
So this is good if you have children that are messy. And
Speaking of water resistant, one time I was at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, are you a deep sea diver?
No, have you seen The Little Mermaid?
I have.
That is actually based on my life.
What is up? We are back. It's day 5 of the Firefall Fest. We've got the Live on 3 crew, including myself, DJ Wheat, Sir Scoots, and Slasher here. We've got some of your questions this time around. We have also been working a little bit more, or thinking about some of the other things that we want to kind of toss at these guys and see if we can get some information out of. So, Slasher, where do you think we should go first?
Well, one of the things that we've talked about most on Live on 3, one of the most important aspects about competitive games, and to me, one of the biggest problems of competitive gaming and esports of all time has been the maps, or I would say the lack of maps that developers have created over the history of all their games. The best Quake maps of all time were not made by id. The best Counter-Strike maps were not made by Valve. It was modders that made it. The best StarCraft maps, the StarCraft community overall hates the maps that Blizzard makes. Every map that is made for competitive play is made by other map makers. Now, we talked a lot about how the jetpacks are influencing, and the movement influences the maps themselves and how they're built. How do you guys go into building a competitive map, also knowing that there is going to be kind of the MMO portion of it, so you have to balance it a little on that end? What are your guys' kind of goals in creating the perfect map?
The main thing is balance, right? You can't have things that are different between one team and another. You have to make sure that their ability to play the game is consistent and equal, right? And so a lot of the maps that we built right now, they're not mirrored, they're not balanced. One team might have an advantage over another. That's okay, they're still fun to play, and we realize that these are not going to be our top tier competitive maps. We're looking at building maps to do that, right? Now that we're solidifying our mechanics, it affords us the opportunity to really kind of design maps around the skill ceiling for those mechanics, right? Knowing that if you do this, and if you can get that off, then you can get here. And so you design your maps for the skillful players being able to do those things. And we're just now getting to the point where we can understand our game well enough that we can start to build maps that will really shine, your skill level will shine on that map because you have the twitch and the awareness and the opportunity to do those things that other players will strive to do. But that being said, I'm also looking to hire an esports map designer. So if you are the hot shit esports map designer,
there you
talk
go.
to me.
Well, and that brings up the secondary question. Like a game like StarCraft 2 has a very vibrant map-making scene, but they're very hidden. They're not at the forefront of Blizzard's. Blizzard doesn't give them much help in regards to getting the map out there, making it a ladder map, adopting the map, even listing them, and it's just very hard. And then you get into the whole tournament realm of which version of that map is the tournament using. What tool sets, if any, you want to hire a guy, but is there ability for me, if I'm that map maker guy, to download a tool set to then submit a map or
I have
community
this
maps?
huge regret that we focus so much on an internal tool that we don't have a way to easily export that to the community. Okay. I really wish we had that encapsulation, but our tool is tied into all of our systems, our asset management, our tasking system, and everything else. It's going to take us a while to sort of break off a segment of that. But I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to see us have the time to take that segment off and let the community design maps. Because you're right. I mean, I remember when I was working at Blizzard, we'd need internal character editors for Diablo 2 so we could test the game. And literally the community, after the game was out, within a week had one that was all graphical and easy to use and everything else. And it's for some reason, I don't know why, but it's because we're focused on other things probably, the community can come up with some really awesome stuff. So supporting that, I think, is a long-term goal. Unfortunately, we're locked in here, so it's going to take us a little longer to come out
before you can break off an SDK,
sure.
so to speak. Yeah, makes sense.
Are you worried about that causing problems with the maps you have now? Do you want to try to create entire new maps that you've made, or sometimes that we've seen in other games, they've made pro versions of existing maps where they are switching items layouts and removing things here and there.
That's one potential thing we could do is sort of like Forge and Halo, right? There could be a mode where if you've given a map, you can rearrange at least the objects in that map and maybe some objectives. That might be a good interim step, right? Is that answer your question? I'm not sure that was on target.
That's for me. Yeah. It brings up another question, actually, and I saw it over here. I love the question because as any sort of traditional FPS player, one of your best friends is the console. Mm-hmm. And when I say console, I mean you hit the tilde, you bring it down. It's I know all these commands. And is there? I mean, I feel like I've seen the console a few times. Are people going to be able to get granular as far as the game's concerned? Maybe they want to modify their graphics. Like a lot of the pros, they like to play very specifically to kind of give them. I don't necessarily want to worry about that tree. I just want to be able to kill that guy right there.
We haven't taken it out. You can access the console with just Control tilde.
Okay.
You know, and then that's just so you don't accidentally type tilde during a game.
And tilde has all the social stuff.
And we've left everything in there. I mean, we have beta testers that are very good at telling us when something's abusable, and we lock down those commands. But there's a, we're probably just going to leave that in there. I don't think there's any plans to take that out.
So there you go. There's an answer. Console, yes.
Well, and you mentioned the user extensibility. Like, a lot of our UI and stuff like that we've done specifically to enable users to go out and modify it to whatever suits them. I mean, this is intentional.
Yeah, shout out to Lemon King. He's made some awesome mods for the game already in the UI code. So you will see those sorts of things happen.
All right. What's our next question, Slasher?
Well, I guess we should take some questions from Twitter.
We got
so if you want
quite
to
a
ask
few.
questions, tweet us at liveon3, Slasher, DJ Wheat, and Sir Scoots, and I have them on our little big board here.
And while he's kind of keeping an eye on that, I got a quickie. I've got the spectator mode open again, right? And hopefully it's working. So one question I have for you, and again, folks, definitely get into this game, check out the spectator mode, because it's really robust for a game that's not out yet. I'm on kind of the dynamic mode right now, so it's kind of looking around for some action. This map is inside a building, so it's not so easy. But I think one of the really, really cool things, like I said, is you've got this, I just sped everything up. So one of the cool things is we're a little delayed from the world, but I'm now fast forwarding it, and I guess eventually once I catch up to live, it stops, or up to the buffer, it stops at. But one of the other cool things about it is I can also slow-mo. Right, and it's not good on this guy because he's dead, right? But so you can so if Marcus knows something crazy is about to go on, he can slow-mo on this guy, and that adds that excitement.
You can replay the humiliation over.
Yeah, and you can then rewind. Like if I go up here, you see I've got all these tools, and again I'm spectating a live match, so it's slightly delayed. But again, in the same area where I go find where Marcus and these guys are playing to watch them live, there's recorded matches. So obviously, once I load a recorded match, I can do all sorts of fast forward, rewind, stop, pause. A little less ability when you're live, obviously. Another cool thing, obviously, you got the guys all lined up. I can click any guy. Maybe not when he's zoomed in. Oh, I'm slow-mo. I'm on him, right?
You can also fly the camera around.
So you can fly, you can go first person, you can do all sorts of stuff. So the question I had in regards, and I'll go back to the overview, Dota, their in-game spectating tool, also very robust, also very cool, has a couple really, really, really cool things going. I'm obviously involved with Team Evil Geniuses, so we're always looking for ways to get our brand out there, our sponsors' brands out there, and they've allowed the ability for teams to have banners in game.
Yes.
And they keep looking at that stuff, logos, banners, all those kind of cool things. So that's the first part of my question: is what are you guys doing for, as you would call them, army tools, right? Because they're not teams, they're not clans, they're armies. And then the next question about spectator tools, another thing that Dota's doing is, if I'm I don't know if they license the broadcasters or approve them, but they can join an in-game spectator tool, turn their microphone on, start broadcasting their voice over the in-game Dota tool, and then I, as a spectator, can just watch and hear Toby talking, right? Not on a stream, which brings up that whole issue of stream revenue versus in-game revenue. Are you robbing Peter, right? But any plans for those kind of things?
Ooh, okay, so
one is the army tool. Sorry, that was a slasher-like question. I'm sorry. and the fifth part of my question.
Let me compose the essay here.
So army tool sets and maybe more in-game broadcasting, not just spectating tools.
We actually have a tool that lets you create your own army decal right internally. So we've been supporting that. We saw the pennant idea from Dota. We think it's brilliant. It's awesome. We'd love to use some of those mechanics in the game. But I think the first step is getting armies out from internal to in the hands of our beta testers, and then letting them fool around with that. And we've got the war paint system, so you can actually put that decal anywhere on your battle frame.
Speaking of war paint.
Oh.
If you are a founder, which you need to go
live
be.
On 3-1 today.
Yeah, but there's a live on 3 war paint. You get that bad boy now, you'll have it forever.
Just click the button under the stream on the firefallthegame.webpage, and you will get that skin if you are a founder's pack, unique to this segment.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, okay.
So, there you go.
Part two.
Part two. Now.
Part two is what was part two again?
Deeper not just spectating tools, but broadcast related.
Deeper broadcaster tools. So Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit during break. It's like, and we were tossing around some ideas. It's like, hey, what if as a broadcaster, we could watch the replay and then we can just add our own audio stream, not just live, but also recorded. So anytime that a spectator in the game pulls up a match, they can tune in to different people's comments and spectating stuff. Even the team themselves could probably do like a play-by-play. It's like, oh, this is where I really messed up or whatever. I think that'd be pretty cool.
A coaching tool, absolutely. That's how I got into commentary, was literally creating audios for my team to say, like, you really messed up here. You should have been here for quad. Like, watch your positioning here. And it turned into that turned into commentary. But absolutely, I see that as a coaching tool.
And it's kind of cool because you have half of it already. Because again, in the spectator tool, there is a record function. So if I go up here while I'm spectating and hit this magic record button, it's going to record what I do. As a driver of the cameras, right? And puts together my show. Now I could screw that all up. But so instead of being able to go anywhere you want, then you would be able to watch what Scoots did. And then again, you add audio on top of that, and now you've got my cast. Or my tutorial or whatever you're doing.
Well, I'd like to take it even one step further. I mean, we talk about being influenced by things, and we get influenced by not just games, but other things. A lot of the features that go into Firefall have come from external places. And I'm looking at social media sites that offer ways for players or participants to be engaged with each other in ways that we haven't seen before. And like looking at a site like SoundCloud is a great example, right? This is where people can share their music, which is pure audio. But what they've done to make it even more social is they give the people who are listening to that music the opportunity to put a little hash mark, and then they can say something about it. And I would love to take that idea and integrate it into replays so that I can talk smack or whatever, and then send that to you, and then have you revel in my awesomeness.
Right. That's
absolutely.
a great concept. I like that one a lot. What about as far as the broadcasting? Is there, I mean, obviously streaming has become like a huge aspect of the growing world of games. Any thoughts to, sort of the streaming aspect of it? I mean, obviously the spectator client serves as a vehicle for making someone, if I wanted to like do my own Firefall tournament, etc. Great, but any other things in the works?
What would you like to see? Maybe we could integrate a client from someplace into the game so that you could do it without having to do anything else.
Yeah, what are we streaming on right now?
I wonder if there's someone on this panel here that might work for.
Gee, you know what? I haven't worked for this company called Twitch. It'd be great if maybe you guys put in an SDK that will allow someone to stream directly from the game.
That sounds like a great idea.
Cut out the middleman.
In fact, it's such a great idea. We're going to go back in time here, and we're going to like integrate it into the game so that we can release it even sooner.
Yes.
Yeah.
For those of you that have been using it.
So you're saying right here that we might potentially, probably.
I don't think it's even might potentially probably. I think
We've
heard
done
that
it.
you guys.
We've integrated Twitch streaming into our internal client. We've been testing it out thoroughly, and we're really excited about that, about turning that on for the beta testers here soon.
That's fantastic. I mean, streaming is not easy, For a lot of guys, they're great at the game, might not be so great at like setting up all the technical this and that. Being able to kind of hit a button and do it live.
Well, and the cool thing about the direct integration is that it's a lot less of a performance hit than if you're trying to run your own streaming content.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we got some more questions because we're coming up on another break here, Slasher.
Yeah, so I guess this comes from Doc Matrix, going a little bit back to the maps, but also adding in the potential of mods. Are there's going to be any ability for people to mod the game and create some of the things that we've seen over the time of FPS?
Which style of mods are you talking about? Like, you can mod the crap out of the UI right now.
Yeah.
In terms of modding the actual content, that's where we start to get into kind of a weird gray area because we're serving all this content on our servers. So we would need some method to get that content into a way that we could then serve.
Yeah, unlike most shooters, all the logic that runs the game is on our servers. And so, it's really tough to give people access to that because one of the things when you're a server-based game is you don't have to worry about client-side piracy, but you got to worry about people taking your server code and then starting up, different servers.
Yeah, right. Like that actually leads us to another great question as it relates to esports. Everyone out there that's a fan, what's one of the most important things? It's a three-letter word. It's LAN.
Yes, we want it.
Any thoughts? I mean, when it comes down to the competitive side of things, when you guys are throwing like the biggest, baddest tournament you've ever had, will there be a LAN component to it?
We can't do a perfect LAN solution, right? Because we can't just let our server code be in the wild. So we really thought about this, and we said, well, what we can do is we can bring a server to you that we manage. And so we built a vehicle called the Mobile Gaming Unit, the MGU, which was built by West Coast Customs, and it's actually going to air on one of their episodes. And this vehicle has an entire data center on board, as well as an entire streaming setup on board, like a NewTek TriCaster, and thank you NewTek for loaning us the TriCaster equipment for this show. But we can do a whole TV segment and up to 3,000 players off of this one vehicle. So for major LAN parties, for things like that, we can do these vehicles. For smaller regional stuff, we think that if you're local in the area and you don't have that many people, you can use our automated tournament tools online to arrange this. But we want to actually build more of these MGUs. You know, maybe they won't be quite as extravagant in terms of external work, but the idea is that we bring the data center to you.
And it's totally pared down concept. Would it be possible, like if the vehicle idea isn't possible, and because you're, you know, an MLG or an IPL or whoever is stuck in a convention center where none of that's feasible, would you guys literally, and you obviously are partnering and licensing your game for other tournaments to use, much like everybody else does, would part of that be that support where the guys come with the box?
Yeah, we will come to you.
You know, even if it's not a bus.
We realize that needs to happen in order to make these things possible.
Wow. Yeah.
And so we've been shrinking down our data center size, smaller and smaller, with some really custom hardware that we've actually worked with AMD on, that we can actually come to you with that equipment.
So
that's great news.
I mean, we saw the problems that happened a few weeks ago at Riot's championships with the game going down and them not incurring LAN until the finals a few days later. And now they foreseeable in the future will have LAN for all major tournaments going into the next however long. Blizzard, on the other hand, has even told us at GameSpot a few months ago when we interviewed them, this is not going to happen. For right now, they do not anticipate releasing a LAN client for tournaments anytime soon because of the realistic issue of piracy. And if there's any chance that it would ever get out, it is pretty much over for Blizzard for their ever after. Do you have those same worries? And which approach do you think that you'll take?
I think you've got the worry, sure, but you also can't, I don't think you should fight it. I think you need to get the game out there with the community in the competitive crowd, and so you're going to have to take some risks. So we put a lot of thought into, you know, how we secure our server builds and how we deploy them. But, you know, hey, the first step was we put it on this gigantic bus. We're serious about, you know, making it happen. We think it's necessary. It's something we're going to have to learn and adapt to.
All right, guys, we're going to take a video break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about something that many have been asking about, and that, of course, is what is in store for all you pro players out there or aspiring Firefall PvP players. We're going to ask a few questions about that. So, guys, thanks for joining Live on 3 here on the Firefall Fest. We'll be back with more after this.
Firefall takes place in a future Earth. It's a technologically advanced Earth somewhere between Star Trek and Star Wars. It really is a world powered by a new energy source called crystite, which came from a meteor storm that devastated the Earth, nearly wiped it out. And they call this event Firefall. It's where the name of the game comes from. Well, Earth thrived. This time, it's all clean energy, and they're using crystite in lots of new and novel ways to power a lot of advanced technology in the world. Everything's great until mankind decides to try their first faster-than-light jump through space, aboard a ship called the Arclight. When the Arclight attempts to activate its drives, all hell breaks loose, and the ship crashes to Earth, leaving behind a rent in space and time where the melding, an energy storm of dangerous nature, pours through, covering the entire planet. This storm devastates everything. It disintegrates whatever it touches and makes land uninhabitable. It's only around the remains of the still running Arclight off the beach of Brazil, Fortaleza, Brazil, that a little bubble has formed of space-time that allows humanity one last chance to rebuild. And this is where the player starts off. We have Admiral Nostromo, who was aboard the Arclight when it crashed, who now becomes consul of the entire Brazil territory. And he's basically trying to help humanity rebuild and at the same time repel an alien invasion from beings called the Chosen, which come out of this energy storm and begin attacking humanity. So he's got a tough job. Next to him, he also has his sort of right-hand guy, Typhon, who's part of the Hellhounds, and Morningstar, who's Typhon's lieutenant, and they're kind of like Nostromo's go-to team for important missions in the game, and they have an important story arc through the entire game, which the players get to be a part of. There's a campaign mission that will be in the game that unfolds over a 5-year arc. We have a serious investment in the story here, and you get to witness it as it happens. So as Typhon and Morningstar and Nostromo and the other key characters go through this epic story arc, you're part of that history. You're helping change the world. And we've divided up into several episodes, and we're going to be unveiling episode 1 here pretty soon, probably early after our first PvE milestone. The story is important to me for a number of reasons. I think I've always been fascinated with characters that have had sort of a dual nature, and Nostromo is definitely one of those characters. He saves Fortaleza, Brazil, but in doing so, he ends up wiping out his family, who dies in the crash of the Arclight. And it's kind of that Sophie's Choice decision that drives him down this path where he's really vengeful against the Chosen. He wants to blame them for everything that happens. He wants to kick them off the planet. He wants to push back the melding, retake everything. Meanwhile, humanity, has another option. There's a starship that's arriving in 4 years that could rescue them from the only other colony that humanity's ever colonized, which is Alpha Prime. So Nostromo has a choice. Does he circle the wagons and try to stick it out until the Aegis arrives? Or does he take the war to the Chosen, which is really what he seems hell-bent on doing? And how far is he willing to take that war, and at what cost? I think these are the interesting questions, along with who are the Chosen really, and what do they want? I like dangling mysteries, big J.J. Abrams fan, so I like to keep fans guessing, and there'll be a lot of mysteries to unravel in Firefall.
It's day 5 of the Firefall Fest. This is Live on 3, joining Scott and Mark here on the stage. One of the growing questions that we get in esports and that we're seeing definitely start to pick up is that developer support in the game. Some people argue that, it should be left up to the leagues and all the other organizations out there to provide prize money and a vehicle for pros to play the game, while the other side is definitely saying that more developers need to get behind their game if they want it to be competitive, and that is what we're going to talk a little bit about next, because you guys have taken the side that you are developing these tools, you're developing the esports tool set. It makes sense that we would also sort of cater to the professional community or to that community that wants to grow by creating a tournament, putting a big prize pool behind it, and we definitely want to talk a little bit more about that. Can anyone give us kind of like a rundown of maybe what we could expect to see for a big competition from Red 5?
So we haven't announced any partnerships yet, and that's something that we're still in the works, developing. But the big thing we've done is we've committed to doing a $1 million prize pool over the next year, for the entire year, to dedicate to esports and Firefall tournaments.
Now, is this over the course of the year in a season, or is it more like the international, where it's going to be one?
No, it's more like over the course of the year. So this is sort of like spread out into different regional and national level tournaments. So,
do you think the focus will be on any particular region, or do you expect this to be a full international effort?
No, it's going to be predominantly U.S. and Europe that we're talking about here. Those are the two regions that we're focusing on for this. The esports in other parts of the world will be run by the operators in those regions.
How important is it for you guys? I mean, obviously the philosophy of fostering a competitive community by creating this amazing tool set is really important. But as far as actually putting all of that money and all that resource and dedication into a big league, like, does that just fit right in line with the philosophy of we're building these tools, why wouldn't we also create this competition?
Yeah, I think they go hand in hand. We feel that in order for this to really work, you have to have active developer participation, and you have to have active developer sponsorship and organization. It is so hard. The barriers are so. I mean, there's so many things that makes life difficult if you're an external organization dealing with a game that doesn't directly support this type of thing. It's just hard to get a match started, or and then you have to jury rig how you're going to spectate it, and then you don't have any support from the developer. So if things go wrong, you don't have any sort of recourse for that. The best place to do it is the developer really has to be engaged at the technical level, at the game level, and at the participation level in these tournaments for it to succeed.
So, of course, the naysayers out there, they would maybe say, well, that's great and everything, but it seems like a lot of developers out there are just like reaching in their pockets, putting some money down on the table so that they can just buy their way into esports. What would you say to someone who had that sort of attitude and perception?
Well, it takes a tremendous amount of money and dedication to make it happen. So I can see how you would have that perception when you see the spend that we do on mobile data centers and everything else, and prize pools saying, oh my gosh, they're just trying to buy their way into it. It's like, no, it's like, this is kind of like what you have to do to even just let an organization kickstart it, right? We don't even know if it will succeed yet. This is not something that, oh yeah, if we spend this money, it's guaranteed.
Right.
You cannot guarantee buying your way into it. We understand that, but we have to at least do this part in order to give it even a chance of happening.
Good. No, you go.
You go.
Well, I was going to have a question about tournament licensing. I'm going to use two diverse examples, Blizzard and Capcom. Blizzard's pretty open with letting you run a StarCraft 2 tournament, whoever you happen to be. And depending on how much money you're giving away, how much of your tournament weekend is monetized, like how much you're making on their IP, depends on what kind of license they grant you. It could be a rev share license, it could be a freebie, it just all depends. But they're very open to letting anyone and their mother run a weekend cup or an MLG doing their thing or an IPO or anybody else, right? So, other side of the coin is Capcom plays, for lack of a better word, personal favorites with who they let use their game. It's not based on a business decision. It's based on some grudges, and they take very good care of their own endemic community, as they should. But sometimes outsiders, and I'll use MLG as a prime example. MLG is not allowed to use Capcom games, and that goes back to bad blood and old history and all that. But at the end of the day, when Capcom is hurting their own game sales potentially because it's one less place their games are being streamed or being advertised, if you will. So where do you guys think you're gonna align with that, or do you even know yet on how you'll let me use your game?
Well, some of it goes into plans we haven't talked about.
Okay.
For
so you're
next year.
gonna announce some more stuff right now, then.
I'm about to hint at things that
hinting's okay.
That aren't going to come to the foreground for a little while.
Just be careful that you've got like the master of you give him a hint and he's going to go searching.
Because if I say this, people will be like, oh, next month you're going to have this all in place, right? It's like no. But I think that I'm fascinated by the democratization of games, right? The fact that it's no longer channeled through a publisher that has to have a good marketing channel and sales channel into a store. Now with digital distribution, indie games can get out there, PCs, it's leveling the playing field. I can't tell a great indie game from a AAA game sometimes because it might be smaller, but the quality is still there.
Right.
Same thing I think is going to happen with television. I mean, with things like Twitch coming up and what YouTube's doing with their sponsored channels, I envision a TV one day where I can't tell that I'm watching a network channel versus an internet channel. Like they're just going to have this sort of parity. I like to encourage that. So if you ask us where we're going with esports is we would want to democratize it. We would want to make sure that a lot of people can run tournaments. And we talked about automated tournament structures.
Right.
This is to facilitate small regional groups that want to hold their own tournament. They don't have to literally have us drive up with an MGU or anything because it's small enough they can get the bandwidth, but they will have the tools to organize that tournament on their own. And we've even had, Brondadon.com has been doing tournaments in the game. They're a fan site and giving away prizes already.
Yep, great.
We love that. And the more that can happen, in our opinion, the better.
Okay. Great.
Awesome. Any follow-up question? Yeah.
No, I actually want to change it a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
We have this $1 million circuit that you're going to have for next year. We've seen over the past few years the kind of decline and problems with FPS games in the entirety of esports. Right now, they're probably fourth in the tier list of what you're going to watch. It's either a fighting game, it's either an RTS game, or it's going to be a MOBA game. And those are kind of the three things that you watch right now. It used to be FPS was king, and they were kind of the creators of this entire genre and all the love that we do today. And that's changed recently. Yeah. How do you guys think that you're going to be able to change the tide here and bring people back to watching and loving FPS as an esport and bringing it to the top? Do you think that's attainable? And how are you going?
Can you just stop?
Yeah, no, wait. Say that. I didn't want to do
notes again.
Doing me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, doing you, doing me, doing you. Yeah.
Yes, it is attainable. I think the challenges that we're facing with FPS games is I think they kind of started the whole genre, but as spectators grew and the advent of being able to watch games on the internet, well, okay, let me back up. we had esports and FPSs before there was a way for anyone to really watch them unless you were there.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, what sort of happened is that didn't attract a lot of developer support, right? Because it was only a limited audience for that. But now you've got games out there, you've got the internet, you've got streaming and everything else. That's enabled a huge audience for this stuff. But it's also required that gameplay adapt to that motif, right? So I think some of the slower paced games, relatively compared to a Twitch-based shooter, or the ones that are more easily digestible to understand what's going on, are the ones like MOBAs that are succeeding in spades right now. RTSs too, right? What we have to do with a shooter is, like I said, really work on that digestibility of the spectator mode so that I can instantly understand, because stuff happens in like a split second in a shooter. I need to understand what just happened, who's ahead, who's behind, and who just did what to whom. That, I think, is the key. I mean, we look at poker a lot, right? Like, it was really hard to televise poker until they could do these real-time graphics and things to actually show you what's happening during a game. We think that that's going to be the missing component that will propel FPS games again into the forefront, because I think it's exciting to watch.
I just have a real quick follow-up to that. Do you feel, because I love the fact that you said that we had esports and we had these games before it was even viewable. I mean, before there was GTV, before there was HLTV, before there was WOG TV for Warcraft 3, it was, it was replays. Or do you feel like with the accessibility that you've talked about and the games becoming simpler, that also the segregation of, say, for example, this game appears on the PlayStation 3 and it appears on the Xbox and you can get it for PC. Do you think that that has had some sort of a, also an issue in the decline of the popularity overall?
Well, I'm still digesting your question. So you're saying that if the split amongst the platforms is segregating the audience somehow?
Right, because it's kind of like one of my personal philosophies is that, I play Call of Duty on the 360. A PS3 guy that plays Call of Duty, he's not equal to me. Like, that's
Shots
you're
fired.
worthless. You play on the PS3. Like, why would I want to,
I can see how that splits.
I played on the
audience,
PC,
right?
so that would mean that you're worthless on
Well,
your 360.
Because not only do you have the audience rivalry, but then like whose version of the game are you going to play on?
That's exactly what I'm getting
version?
at. And I feel like it's kind of like it's created this sort of like wider spread issue amongst like FPSs specifically. And that's why, frankly, it's like PC. It's at home. It's at home, guys. It's where it needs to be. But
I'm going to make a lot of enemies here, but I also think that if you're going to take an FPS and do an esports, you better have a keyboard and mouse.
Yep.
Just saying.
Shots fired again.
Quote that. Get that quote going.
That's a good spot. We're going to be back with more of your questions, but it is time to give some more stuff away. Let's shoot on over to the tiki bar and get that spin going.
Welcome back, guys. This has been a great show, actually. There's a lot of good questions going over there. Some tough ones. You can see Scott squirming in his pants a little bit as Mark promises things.
Well, it's because we don't let him go to the bathroom either.
Well, that's true. They've not been allowed to leave that set for the past 3 hours. So
that's right.
We keep plodding him with water, and he's going to go pretty soon. Mm-hmm. But I think this is our last prize giveaway.
Is it? Wow.
Beanies. No, we're not giving away beanies.
I'm keeping my beanies.
I'm so alone.
Guys.
Oh, there you are.
Yo.
I'm a little sad.
Why is that?
It's the last thing to give away.
For this show. We've got another show. We've got 2 more shows.
We have 2 more shows?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, cool. Then I don't even care. I mean, I care.
Yeah, you do care.
I care a lot.
You do care. What are we giving away, though?
We're giving away a Black Widow. What?
Okay.
No, not the arachnid. See, I got that word right. Arachnid.
What? Arachnid?
Arachnid.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
What's going on here?
That was so... Did you...
We just got invaded.
Is that just me? Did I...
There's another door on the opposite side. You gotta go to the bathroom. You don't have to walk through our set, guys.
See, here's the thing. They put the community set right next to the bathroom, so...
They can't flush the toilet while we're on camera.
They just...
We're gonna stretch this out for a really long time.
No, we shouldn't, because it smells here.
That's true.
It does. There's not a good ventilation system in there.
That's why we cut the video so often.
Okay.
Okay.
You're striking me.
Razer provided us some stuff to give away. We're going to give away a Razer Black Widow Tournament Edition keyboard, but not just yet. Not just yet. We have been slacking on the Firefall t-shirts. I had to beg, plead, and cheat to get us enough t-shirts to give away, and you guys haven't given them away.
I blame Pez.
So we're going to give away some t-shirts real quick.
Who wants a t-shirt?
Well,
sorry, man.
I'm pretty sure everyone that...
You want...
He gets a T-shirt.
You want to?
We now have 2
All right.
T-shirts to give away. Scooch just won a T-shirt.
Sorry, guys. He you know.
He just won another one all the way from over there too. So we're down to 1.
Okay, we're not going to do it on Twitch, guys. So even though he said who wants a T-shirt, I'm not doing it on Twitch.
I'm just asking. I didn't say Twitch. Am I right?
I think we should do it on Twitter.
On Twitter. Okay. All right.
And this time at Red5 Studios.
Yeah, at Rev5 Studios. Hashtag.
Beatbox.
Hashtag
Beatbox.
Hashtag Beatbox.
Hashtag Beatbox. At Red5 Studios, hashtag Beatbox if you want those sweet, sweet Firefall t-shirts. Completely forgot what we were giving away in my head. I was like, what that sweet, sweet. What are you saying? Where are you? What is going on?
You have no idea what's going on.
What is life? Oh, thanks. Yeah, you want to smack this out of my hand again?
It's empty. I already know it's empty. There's no joy in the fact that you might be burned.
You know, when I came on, I was pretending like, I really felt like I was drinking coffee. You know?
Totally blew your cover.
Whatever. I'm giving them away.
All right, let's do this.
Chris _Ego. You win the first T-shirt.
Ego. Congratulations. Yeah.
That's 1 T-shirt to you. Be sure to message Tony Ray.
Yes.
We're writing it down too, so Tony Ray can contact
Perfect.
you.
Yeah. Tony Ray at Tony Ray.
Let's see. You pick one. I'm scrolling.
All right, you're scrolling. I'm just closing that.
Ready. Random.
Boom. Wait, where's Twitter? There's,
right here.
Oh, okay, perfect. We're gonna go to Jonah Youngblue 1.
Youngblue 1.
Jonah Youngblue 1.
Just because your name sounds like Youngblood.
Yeah.
Which Scott Youngblood.
Probably what I was
on
attracted
screen.
to. I just saw the name. I was
You're attracted to Scott Youngblood?
Secret time.
Scott, run! Run, Scott, run!
Scott.
He's gonna sweat all over you.
The community said.
Okay.
Hey. All right. This is getting weird. It's getting really weird.
Just now? I think it's been weird since Monday.
I think it got weird as soon as you did the whole tickling action. The Twitterverse has been blowing up about that.
That's amazing.
All of them are like, can't wait.
We have another prize to give away, and they're sponsors, so let's be appropriate.
All right, yeah, I'd love that.
Our swag bags do whatever you want with, but this Razer has
Black
graciously
Widow.
provided us prizes.
Yes, Black
Thank you,
Widow
Razer.
Tournament Edition keyboard. It is highly, you can travel with it. It's very compact. It has a detachable USB cable.
Tell them how they can win it.
Pretty sweet. Okay, go to Twitter, at Rev5 Studios, hashtag Razer. We've never done that. So hashtag Razer, R-A-Z-E-R, at Red5 Studios, hashtag Razer, if you would like the Razer Black Widow Tournament Edition keyboard.
Did you tell him how to spell Razer?
I did. R-A-Z-E-R.
Whoa, man, that's fast, guys.
I'm telling you, man. These keyboards
Even
are
with
sweet.
the delay, that's
They
that's
know what's
fast.
up.
Okay. I'm gonna scroll. You're picking
Yeah.
Tony. It's remember center.
Yeah. I'm ready. Eyes are closed.
Ready. Stop.
And okay, and it's Connexion. K-O-N-C-I-O-n.
Concion.
Concion. Keyboard.
I'm highly offended right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He is-
If you guys just won, please send me a tweet at Tony Ray, and
We'll try to reach out to you guys as well. For now, though, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, DJ Wheat's going to tell us all how to make PvP awesome.
Bye.
Be back in a bit.
See you, Scott.
Hey, girlfriend.
Run.
Hi, my name is Mark Kern, and I'm the CEO and founder of Red5 Studios, makers of the free-to-play shooter called Firefall. But in addition to that, we're also creating something pretty special called Stage 5 Television. Stage 5 Television is something that I've wanted to see for a long time. It's a gaming channel really focused on the gamer and the changes that are happening in our gaming industry. And we wanted to cover that in a channel dedicated to all the sort of innovations you see in indie gaming, as well as geek and gaming culture, from cosplay to independent narrative short stories and fantasy and sci-fi that we could help sponsor and create. If you like what you see, come back to Stage 5 and please watch our shows. Thank you.
I've thought about starting my own studio for my entire career. That's what I've always wanted to do.
You know, we're sitting here, we're playing with pegs on a board, we're redesigning, we're making up new rules, and it totally feels like you're a kid again. And there's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of creativity in that. That's why I started playing Alex. It's pure cheat.
Whatever.
The ability to actually reach out directly to the people that are playing your games right now is unparalleled. So I think, if anything, we can't complain about the game industry right now. We've got to take advantage of it.
The opportunity to have Steve Wayne critique my costumes and give me feedback and advice, that's really invaluable.
This is an old trick Stan Winston taught me for everything. You stand back and you squint like this, and when you squint, everything that's not right will pop out.
This is Game Changers, the show where we take video game tropes and test them out on a real-world scope. Oh!
Jeez, I'm pro. Okay, whoa.
Look, Arana!
Oh man, I hate spiders!
The Continuum Project is a group of filmmakers that Red 5, worked with to develop the next generation of storytellers.
Herman A. Tari struggled for his next, his first, his only big idea.
It's sort of giving an opportunity for filmmakers and new content creators to get their work out there in a way that wasn't possible 5 years ago.
They talked to us about the concept, and then they just kind of let us go.
So the weather is shifting and it is time to wear a beanie. Keep your head warm. Flu season is coming. We don't want you to get a cold.
You're talking about seasons. I'm thinking about this is going to be my first winter without my wife. And, thinking about the seasons passing. Christmas time all alone as a bachelor.
We'll get you a hat to keep your head warm as well. I know you're worried about keeping your head warm.
For richer, for poorer, huh? Deborah? Wherever you are? If you've seen my wife, please call the number at the bottom of the screen.
Disregard that. Call the number.
Last seen with a Turkish MMA fighter. So.
After I finished up working on World of Warcraft, it took me about 6 months before I realized that I really wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to take this huge persistent world idea and the idea of 1,000 players playing together and bring it more to an action format. And with Firefall, we wanted more of this sandbox approach. I mean, we got rid of levels, we let you roam anywhere in the world and fight anything you want to do, explore every nook and cranny, and get rewarded for doing it. And to have different dynamic events unfolding in the world that you can follow basically in a non-linear fashion. I wanted to be more organic. I wanted the player players to go ahead and explore. And since there's no levels, we can open up the whole territory to you. You can go where you want. And we want you to discover the world organically so that when you arrive at an area, suddenly there's dynamic events unfolding in front of you, and you can choose to participate in them, and they're different depending on where you go. Now, what sort of things can you do? Well, obviously there's regular sort of missions where you go out and you have to like push back a hisser nest, or you have to defend an area or convoy resources from one town to another. But there's also a special type of event that we call an on-demand dynamic event, and the main one right now in beta is called the Thumper. And the Thumper is this big mining drill that you call in from basically a dropship, and it lands wherever you've surveyed the land and found resources and starts drilling. And all these monsters start attacking you like Starship Troopers style. And you have to defend it so that the drill doesn't blow up and you can get the resources back. So what do you do with these resources? Well, you make stuff. And like I said before, you can make battle frame improvements to give your character more options in battle, different abilities, different armor, different reload speeds for your weapons. But you can also take these resources and basically use them to tweak the stats and the actual variables of your gear. So there's rarer resources and there's more common resources. And you can find some really rare stuff. And because it's a dynamic world, it may not ever appear there again. And if you put that into your gear, you're going to find that you've got certain stats and abilities that you can't get anywhere else. I really want players to play Firefall and go, gee, that's really opened my eyes. It's like I thought that MMOs had to be a certain way, but this is so much freer. This is so much more dynamic, and it doesn't feel like the world is going to be the same every time I log into it. And I always have something new to do. And what I'm experiencing may be very different from my friend's experience in the game.
What is up? Welcome back. It's day 5 here of the Firefall Fest. This is Live on 3. Joining some folks here from Red 5. We've got Scott and Mark have been answering our questions all day. Hopefully we've been covering most of the questions that you guys have shot at us through Twitter. We've still got a few more to do, but this is going to be kind of the wrap-up portion of the segment. So if you have any final questions that have to get answered, get out there now. And I kept on hearing it, I guess through the reading on the internet, which is, that little voice in your head. People asking about European servers, possibility of SEA servers. Obviously playing in regions. If the server's in the U.S. and you're in one of those regions, you want to enjoy the game. Can't really. Anything you might be able to give the folks out there in terms of what could be available soon?
We had a little bit of a setback on our European servers. We thought it was going to be easy, right? And so when Gamescom came around, we were all set, and then we discovered a little bug. It's just one little bug that's keeping us from doing it. Well, it turns out that little bug is going to take a month to fix.
Wow.
So we're going to go probably to a hybrid solution where we have some game servers there and some databases over here in the interim, and then and when we fix that little bug, we'll be good this time. Knock on wood for EU servers. But yes, those are planned. Right now you can play from Europe. It's not a consistent experience depending on the time of day you connect or things like that. But we're actually pretty lag tolerant, so we do have a lot of European players, and I promise you those servers are coming.
And even within that though, like when you join as just a user, it's not like other games where you tell all your friends, okay, get the game and join me on this server. Like to the outsider, there is one big server. But within that, it's like private instances or hidden servers, if you will. So when Marcus sends me a join request, I get shuttled to his. So you're still going to have an issue if he's in Europe and I'm in the States and I decide to join him or he decides to join me.
But that'll be
someone going to lag.
Pick your friends carefully.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
And that's the nature of that. There's no real way to fix that, but
right, because we don't want to segregate the European population from the U.S. population.
Yeah.
So we want it to be one universal, sort of invisible cloud of Firefall. So you may be playing locally, but then when you join your friend and he happens to be a U.S. player, then yes, you are going to get shuttled to the U.S. But like I said, for the most part, it's very lag tolerant. We have a lot of people playing in Europe right now. I don't think you're going to be very competitive in a PvP match that way. So those things you'll probably want to be on your local server.
How is the netcode
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Same question. Yeah.
Getting awesomer. Getting awesomer. We've discovered a lot of bugs with our netcode, but with the community's help. And we also switched. We had a very simple hit detection model. It was just like the chest and the head, but now we're fully animating all the hitboxes on your body, and that was a huge change. And we got like half the comments were like, I can't hit anything anymore, were because it's harder to hit you now that you've got animated hitboxes, and the other half was we did have some problems with our netcode. But that's one thing that we jump on right away all the time, and we're always tuning that. And I'm pretty happy with where it is now. I think it's gotten to the point where we, after the big transition to animated hitboxes, we're in a good place where it's just a little tweaking here and there.
And we're going to keep working on it. We're also exploring the concept of, could we change our latency model for the PvP matches, but we keep the open world at a consistent rate.
Yeah. So if we do bring the data center to the local show, instead of doing X millisecond of latency buffer, we shrink it right down again.
So you have that really crisp reaction time.
So, though we have a few minutes left, so you can tweet us live on 3 and I'll try to get as many questions as possible. My personal last one is, you mentioned Twitch-based shooter before. Twitch-based shooters over time have also decreased in popularity, even less so than FPS as a whole. What do you think about Twitch-based shooters in general? Do you think this is a time when that entire genre can be revitalized? Shootmania is also out. What do you kind of think about that whole thing?
It's a time to be revived.
Yeah, I love Twitch games. That's what got me into making shooters to begin with. I played the crap out of Quake when it came back in the day, and I used to play it competitively. And over the years, there's been some games that have come and have satisfied that burning desire to shoot that guy right in the face. But I felt that there's been a drought relatively recently in terms of a competitive style game that gives you that opportunity to really kind of shine on multiple levels. We want to be a game that not only is it shooting, but it also offers you lots of choices to be really smart about how you use your abilities and exercise your teamwork in an experience that you just can't get anywhere else. And we want to do it also in an environment that's exceptionally social, because it's no fun if people can't appreciate how awesome you are.
I think it just occurred to me, sitting right here, that one thing that might help make that possible is the fact that I think that a high skill game is inherently more interesting to watch. If you have more time to pull off, trick shooting and things like this, rather than just, I turned the corner and there's a guy there and I one bullet him and he's dead. Right?
I think that this is personally, and I'm not going to necessarily say that it doesn't deserve to be esport, but when I do watch something like Call of Duty, where it is more now it's burst damage. You're never seeing some amazing 180 flick sniper it just doesn't really happen. And it kind of goes back to that thing. Those games become more about the positioning, about crossfire and that
Team
sort
play.
of thing, suppressing, etc. Whereas the Twitch-based shooter, it I think breaks out the skill sets more. Movement becomes a skill set. There are guys that are way better at moving than they are necessarily at shooting, and there are guys that are just they have a great team mind to know, guys, we need to coordinate and do attacks this way. And I feel like in some cases, the Twitch-based shooter allows that branching of skills, and you almost get I imagine this. I'm selecting a character in a fighting game. It's power, and then speed, and then it's the same kind of thing. Is that every player breaks down this guy, his aim is just sick as shit, but his movement it needs a little bit of work.
Well, and it's rippled out through our battle frame designs. This is something that we've intentionally looked at and built these battle frames to facilitate players who have different ways that they like to play. I learned back on Tribes that some guys want to be the light flag runner, where other guys just want to be the turret farmers. And watching what those guys were doing with the mechanics that they had taught me a lot about, people really want to do a hell of a lot more than just shooting that guy in the face.
Right.
Dashi Meister asks, what type of matchmaking will they be looking at implementing later on in development? So matchmaking is a big thing right now.
So basically you're saying our matchmaking is so awful that they don't even know it's there.
Well, so Dash Meister, I'm assuming one of the things he's thinking is that you almost need to have a general queue up, right? I'm jumping right in, I'm having some fun. But one of the other things is, and I believe this was asked by the community, is that one of the incentives of playing is earning XP and improving your battle frame, getting to that when you get to that next plasma gun or the next assault rifle, etc. in a situation where, sorry, just scared
the hell out of me.
Creepy sound, dude.
What happened over here?
How a zombie gets scared?
Somebody
I don't know.
on my butt right now. Can you see? I can't see what's happening.
Touching my butt.
My left hand is.
So I guess the question comes down to is there a ladder basis? Like I can track myself and see, like, hey, I'm number 1 of the assault class right now. Is like there any maybe foundation for that in the back?
We've been talking about different methods of being able to have players compete, track, and then progress amongst themselves. We're still exploring all of our options there, but ladders is definitely something that we've talked about. I've spent other games a lot of time playing their ladder games, so I really understand what that experience can do for us. And if it makes sense to them, we'll definitely integrate it.
One thing that we're really leaning towards is we think that, especially, PvP ladders, right? It's like there can only be 1 winner or 10 winners, right? And then everyone else gets discouraged. And so what we'd like to see is actually ladders against your friends. So you can see amongst your friends how you're doing, and that way you can have multiple pools of winners. So within your social group, you are the best, or you can flip-flop, and then you've got water cooler stories to tell about that the next day.
Absolutely.
So kind of get things we didn't really ask this, but he wants to know, is your approach to getting Firefall into events going to be more like Riot or hands-off like Valve?
Right.
When like Riot kind of taking the approach like we are going to create this, infrastructure to control our events, and then other organizations will still facilitate into there, whereas Valve is kind of a little bit more open about it. We're going to have our tournament, but as far as we're concerned,
do whatever you want.
do whatever you want.
I say we're more on the spectrum towards Riot, although we're not sure where to draw the line there yet. Because we're a smaller organization. We need partners. We need people to help us organize all this stuff. But a lot of it we can do through software. Like I said, building software tools into it.
I got a question that's actually unrelated to the actual game itself, but more Red 5 Studios and future plans about content. We're production nerds. He's a production nightmare. I assumed that we were coming into a rented building that had been loaded in to do this week of, streams. Woefully incorrect assumption on my part. We're sitting in a studio building that you guys have built out and you own. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3 different static sets, plus they can move out of the way to do other stuff. What developers don't do once they throw a game at us is often they leave it to us to create content about the game, to talk about the game every week, which is great. That's what we're here to do. Tell me about the building we're in and what you plan to do with it.
So, we've built a whole gaming channel called Stage 5 that we've sort of stealth launched on YouTube right now. Stage 5 TV is really about creating what we wanted to see in a gaming channel, which is more focused on indie games and some of the changes in our industry. Less of a focus, we don't want to cover what everyone has already got well covered, which is the AAA console hits and things like that. We're more interested in the new creative movements that are coming out. And we also wanted to create a little sci-fi and fantasy narrative channel that we can inspire new filmmakers to do, either offshoots of game ideas or anything sort of geek and culture related. But part of that is also the live aspect of it. And we're testing that right now. This is our first, from this studio, it's our first live show ever. And boy, we bit off a lot. But it's teaching us about how to do this so that we can bring player stories into Stage 5. We're really about building a direct connection with the community, and we want to highlight what players are doing, and we want to bring guests on board that have been playing Firefall to see what they're about. So on Friday, starting next Friday, we have Firefall Live, which is going to be on this channel, and our community is going to run that, and we hope to really just sort of like spread the word of what are players doing in this game, how can we highlight the community.
Gotcha. So we could see matches of the week. We could see all sorts of. Once you have tournaments going, they could be recapping how tournaments went, who won, all that kind of stuff.
And more Firefall shopping network too, with Philip.
Great content. I feel so sorry for her though, man. But great content.
All right. Well, we are getting near the end of the Live on 3 segment, so I think it's only appropriate that we've asked some questions. The community has asked some questions. And I'm looking at you, Slasher, and you, Scott. That we take a few moments. One of the questions that you tweeted out this morning, Slasher, is Firefall ready for esports? Is this going to be an esport? We've heard a lot. We've played the game a little bit. Let's do some maybe final thoughts on what we think, where things are at, and where things might go. Slasher, why don't you start?
I'm liking everything that's happening right now. I mean, Riot gets a lot of flack for people saying they throw money at the game and that they've kind of created the esport where other games, the communities created it and the developers latched on. I don't quite see it like that, and I really like the developer hands-on approach from the very beginning to make sure that the tool sets are there for people to use and the community to use, but also that there is some financial backing towards the game, because the pros need to make money. They need to play for some prize money to keep them interested and keep them going right now. So I'm pretty impressed with everything that I've seen so far this weekend. I want to see what game modes develop over the next little time, and I think that's actually pretty important. Maybe we'll see any type of new game modes added.
What is that? Another grab for information? I don't know. It's like one final grab from Slasher.
Can there be some sort of live on 3 thing that pops up? That's a Counter-Strike thing. Restart live. My final thoughts again. I think I've probably played more of the PvE than either of these guys. And I know that part is very much in beta. There's not a whole lot of content. And I'm really excited about how you're kind of changing that gameplay. With worlds opening up and areas opening up based on how the humans react and how they explore and defend and all those kind of things. So that kind of does excite me. These guys will never go thump probably, but I will do both, right? So really, really cool. I think very innovative. And I think my concern, and it's very much a wait and see with you guys. If you guys have said a lot of the right things today, you've answered the questions kind of how we wanted to hear. Now it's going to be up to you guys to follow through with your own vision and obviously, deliver some of this stuff. But, what I've seen so far is it's very much a blend of Quake meets Tribes, meets a little bit of Counter-Strike in some regards, meets a little bit of Team Fortress with class-based, etc. And it's like you said, you want to do something different. You're not mimicking a different MMO and you're not mimicking any different competitive FPS. It's a little bit of everything kind of jammed into these 2 modes, if you will. And I'm really excited to see where it is in a year. I'd love to come back and sit right here in a year and talk about phase 2 and see where you're at now with both sides of it.
I wish it was a spectator mode for development. We could just fast forward.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Bug's gone.
So yeah, I mean, my final thoughts again are good luck. Very ambitious stuff you guys are doing. Thank you very, very much for inviting us. And everybody else you invited. You got a lot of different perspectives this week, and I know you're not done, but it was kind of cool all week hearing the casual gamers and the pro personalities like a Will Wheat and a Felicia. They don't care about PvP like we do, but they are gamers. They represent an audience that will use your game. Everything from everybody, right? Day 9 obviously is more like us. Complexity more like us. So I just think it's really cool what you did. Very diverse audience this week. So, thanks for having us and continued good luck with the game.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, as far as my final thoughts, I just want to take a moment to correct Scoots because he said that I would not be thumping at all in the game. But that is just frankly
Just
not
me.
true because when I am in a PvP game, I will be thumping the shit.
Boom!
There it
Good
is.
answer.
With that being said, I have to agree with both of my co-hosts that, I think that being here and experiencing some of the things that we hadn't gotten to experience, it definitely opens up a ton more questions.
Yeah.
I almost feel like there could be another 3 hours where we're just kind of taking what we've gone and go with it. But, I have to say, having played the game in the past and now seeing what it is now, that to me has been one of the more impressive transitions because we oftentimes play these games or get these situations where we play it, we maybe revisit it later on, and it's pretty much the same game. And I can absolutely say with confidence that from the last time I played it to how I played it now, I really feel like a lot of those things that were originally questions in my mind have been addressed and have kind of been taken note. So for me, it's like, okay, great. You gather data, you get information from the players. Now I kind of turn it back on the players because I think that player feedback is so important, the community feedback is so important, but more importantly, to be able to facilitate a true professional league and sort of activity as far as this competition is going, it's up to you guys as well. I mean, to really speak up, to give your thoughts on what might be the best for the competitive, because I'm sure you guys don't know and don't necessarily want to dictate. We're going to find out from from the community. What's more fun? Maybe one's more fun to watch, maybe one's more fun to play, but ultimately, I feel like that involvement from the professional community is going to be very, very important. So I urge you, pros out there, Quake, Counter-Strike, even Call of Duty, Halo, give this game a shot, especially as more and more game types and as we get closer to that $1 million competition and prize pool that's going to be dished out over the course of the next year, etc. Last but not least, I've been in esports for a long time. I've seen a lot of different spectator modes. I've tried to help other games with certain spectator modes, and there's been some companies that have almost gotten there. There's been other companies that have nailed it. There's been others that are never going to get there. But you guys have, in my opinion, the best tool set that is available right now. And that's exciting, knowing that I didn't purchase this game to find out. The game is coming out, it's free to play, and these tools exist. For me, I feel like it's not only going to bring you guys success in that area, but in sort of a kind of selfish perspective, I think that you guys are pushing what other developers and companies need to be doing. And so I definitely put you guys up there as sort of like a leader. When someone is like, what do you want to see in a spectator mode? I'm going to be like, have you played Firefall yet? So awesome. that I think is definitely one of the most important things.
Thank you.
Want to thank the community who tuned in today. You guys are great. Thanks for all your questions. Hopefully you guys have won some stuff. Hopefully you're going to check out the game. I want to also remind everyone you can check out Live on 3 typically on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But more importantly, just follow us at Sir Scoots, at DJ Wheat, at Slasher, and at Live on 3, and you get all the info, and we'll continue to be talking about the game. Guys, thank you so much. It's been absolutely great. Scott, thank you so much. Guys, on behalf of Live on 3 and everyone here at the Firefall Fest, thanks for joining us. We got more action coming up for in the afternoon, and then also it continues into the day tomorrow with one of my favorite guys, Nathan Fillion, is going to be in studio. Why couldn't he have been after our segment? I don't know. I think they planned it that way. But anyway, thanks from everyone at Live on 3. We've had a blast, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.